Rasa Jala Nidhi, or Ocean of Indian Chemistry, Medicine, and Alchemy, Vol. 2, compiled in Sanskrit, by Budeb Mukherjee, M.A., Sankhya Vedanta Tirtha Rasacharya, formerly lecturer, postgraduate classes, Calcutta University, principal, Bengal College of Ayurveda, with English translation by the author Christopher Templestad. Introduction. Dr. Siddhanandan Mishra, PhD Head, Rasa Shastra Department, Gov. Ayurvedic College, SS University, Varanasi. Copyright page. Preface. Little did I think at the time I set to myself the gigantic task of compiling in 10 volumes, a book which has already been considered to be the most systematic and comprehensive treatise on the almost best, abstruse, and little-known science of Hindu chemistry, that it would be received by the educated public with anything like enthusiasm. My diffidence on this direction was due, no doubt, to a strange but much evinced mentality, developed by a great majority of the present-day Indians who are in the habit of condemning much of the social and cultural achievement of their forefathers without even taking the trouble of examining them critically, so much so that everything which is unknown and unintelligible of these people is denounced as dogmatic, unscientific, and superstitious. But fortunately for me, facts have belied my expectation, at least partially. The encouragement which I have been receiving from the really educated and patriotic section of the Indian public, irrespective of caste, creed, or community, has elicited in me a faint ray of hope that time may come when my countrymen will turn their eyes inwards and try to revive the ancient Indian culture, not only in the departments of language, philosophy, religion, mathematics, and socio-religious, and socio-political laws, which have already received some mention, but also in the departments of material sciences, including the science of medicine, which, even in its degraded and much neglected condition, human claim an incomparable superiority to all other systems of medicine known to the world. It is indeed very gratifying to note that the first volume of Rasa Jala Nidhi has met with much appreciation not only in India, but also in foreign countries. It is a pity that no Indian university has hitherto given any attention to the study of Indian chemistry and Indian medicine, which are more important than the other branches of Indian culture. It is very difficult to foresee whether any of our universities will ever come to realize the importance of the branches of ancient Indian culture, but if men like Sir Chimanlal Setalvad, the present Vice Chancellor of the Bombay University, continue to be at the help of university affairs in India, time may come when my dream of the resurrection of the moribund India sciences may be fulfilled. Whatever that may be, the publication of any work involves immense commercial possibilities. It is a matter of common knowledge that a great many of the allopathic drugs are prepared from Indian herbs, the properties of which the allopaths came to learn from the Indian books on herbal medicines, but unfortunately, the allopaths have not yet had the opportunity of knowing that by far the greater portion of the literature on Indian medicines is still a terra incognita, not only to them, but to many of the practitioners of Indian medicine themselves. Of the innumerable metallic medicines prescribed in books on Indian chemistry, Rasa Sindaram, or ordinary sulfide of mercury, wrongly called makaradwaja, which is prepared out of sulfur and mercury, which is digested gold, that is swallowed some gold without any increase in its original weight, so much so that the gold thus swallowed can by no means be separated from the swallowing mercury. V, pages 76 to 99, 105 to 116, and 134 to 135, vol. 1, is the only one that has been brought to the knowledge of the allopaths, who have found it very efficacious as a general tonic. This medicine is now being prepared by some foreign chemists and used extensively by the Indian allopath. My publication will afford thee and other chemists an opportunity of preparing many other metallic drugs, a lot of which are much more efficacious than Rasa Sindaram, which is only one of the common places of metallic preparations prescribed in books on Indian chemistry. This may open up a new avenue of commercial intercourse between India and the rest of the world, leading to the revival of Indian chemistry in foreign countries at least, if not in India itself. Let truth triumph, no matter how, when, and where. Prof. Arthur Beckett Lamb of the Harvard University has kindly suggested to me the desirability of pointing out the ancient sources of information on which my compilation is based. This is a point to which I had given a careful consideration at the time I put the work in hand. The difficulty which stands in the way of my accepting the suggestion is peculiar to the manner in which Indian chemistry has been transmitted on the subject hitherto discovered, claims originality. The author of every one of these books says that he is only a compiler, and there is nothing to disbelieve him, because all of these books have much in common. It is manifestly evident that all of them drew on a common mass of materials transmitted by preceptors to disciples from time out of memory. All that the ancient Hindus really cared for was knowledge without a scrupulous inquiry as to when and by whom a particular truth was discovered. There is another reason why I found the task of assigning sources of my information almost impossible. The existing books are so much wanting in method, so fragmentary, incomplete, and so full of mistakes made by generations of scribes that I had to correct the ancient texts to a great extent and to supply the missing link. From the materials I collected from my preceptor, who has got his own manuscript notes on the whole science, so much so that much of the language used in these volumes is my own composition. Although the materials supplied are by no means of modern origin, they have been handed down to us by our remotest forefathers through generations of chemists, most of whom have hitherto been ascetics retiring into the forest. It will be evident to a careful student of Hindu chemistry that the verses quoted in the text and those composed by myself have been so intermingled with one another that it is practically impossible to give references to works laid under contribution in every case. Such being the case, all that is possible for me is to furnish my readers with a list of books and manuscripts consulted, and this I propose to do after I have completed the compilation of all the volumes. I consider it to be a pleasant duty to express my heartfelt gratitude to Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose, Sir Chiman Lal Setalvad, Vice Chancellor, Bombay University, Dr. Gerald Druce, author of History of Science, Dr. Nagaoka of the Institute of Physics and Chemical Research, Tokyo, Prof. H.K. Sen of the Calcutta University, Mr. Arthur Edward Waite, Prof. L.M. Dennis of the Cornell University, Prof. A.B. Lamb of the Harvard University, and many other well-known scholars who have encouraged me by their sympathetic appreciation of my ambitious work. I am also indebted to Pandit Nritya Gopal Panchatirtha and to Professors Kshitish Chatterjee, M.A., and Satkari Mukherjee, M.A., of the Depth of Sanskrit, Calcutta University, not only for the help they rendered to me in correcting the proof sheets, but also for several suggestions received from them. The encouragement which I have received from the following members of the Institute of Hindu Chemistry also deserves mention: Prof. Ramnarayan Kayas, M.Sc., B.A.G. of the Nagpur University, Messrs. Girija Nath Mukherjee, B.Sc., Ask, Analyst, Calcutta Corporation, Anindra Nath Chatterjee, Sarojnath Bogji, Ganapati Chakravarti, M.A., and Apendra Nath Dutt. 41. A Gray Street, Calcutta, September 26, 1927. Budeb Mukherjee, Uparasa Sabrak. Content. Chapter 1, page 333. Different kinds of mica. Mica should be deprived of its glaze. 446. Purification of mica. 7. Danya Abrak. Incineration of mica, characteristic of killed mica, nectarization of mica. 9, 10, 34, 35. Importance of putam in killing of mica. Rubbing not necessary in putams for 1,000 times killers of mica. 36, 37. 37. Use of incinerated mica. Special accompaniments of mica, general directions for use of mica. 38, 40, 42. Dietary in the use of mica. Evil effects of mica. Not properly incinerated removal of mica. Not properly incinerated extraction of essence of mica. 42, 43, 43, 44. Purification of essence of mica. 49. Incineration of essence of mica. How incinerated essence of mica is to be used. Softening of essence of mica. Liquefaction of mica, amalgamation of more than one metal in a state of. Cold liquid transformation of tin into silver by means of mica moksha. Detailed classification of pyrites. 50, 54, 54, 55, 59, 60, 61, 63. Merits of makshika, evil effects of impure makshika. 66, 65. Saras. Purification of makshika. Incineration of makshika. Extraction of essence of makshika. Use of essence of makshika. 6670, 1E70, 376. Liquefaction of essence of makshika. Accompaniments of makshika, removal of evil effect caused by impure makshika. Bimala. 76, 77, 77, 77. Purification of Bimala. 78. Incineration of Bimala. 80. Extraction of essence of Bimala. 81. Use of the essence of Bimala. 83. Shila Jatu. 80. For special properties of different kinds of Shila Jatu. 87. Gold Shila Jatu. 87. Silver Shila Jatu, Copper Shila Jatu, Iron Shila Jatu, Tin Shila Jatu, Lead Shila Jatu. Test of genuine Shila Jatu, properties of Shila Jatus in general purification of Shila Jatu. Test of purified Shila Jatu. Uses of purified Shila Jatu, incineration of Shila Jatu. 87. 80, 89, 89, 90, 99, 100, 101. Use of incinerated Shila Jatu. Essence of Shila Jatu. Camphor Shila Jatu. Evil effects of taking impure Shila Jatu. 100 and 2, 100 and 2, 103, 103. How to cure the diseases due to the use of impure Shila. Jatu. 103. Sora, a kind of Shila Jatu. 104. Tatam. 105. Purification of Tatam. 105. Extraction of essence from Tatam. 107. Ditto, without application of heat. 108. how to extract copper from feathers of peacock. 103, the finger, which cures colic and neutralizes poison. 109. Sasyakam, or blue stone. Qualities of Sasyakam. 110, 111, purification of Sasyakam. Incineration of Sasyakas. 111, 112, removes poison. Extraction of Esenek from Sasyaka, another kind of finger ring which cures colic, and incineration of the essence of Tutam or Sasyakam, how to remedy the evil effect of impure Tutaka. And 113, 113, 114. Sasyaka. 115, Chapala. 116, purification of Chapala. 117, extraction of essence from Chapala. 117. Chapala produced from lead and tin. 118. Rasaka, or Harpara, inability of Rasaka to stand fire. 119, 12,020, how Rasaka may be made to stand fire. 120, purification of Rasaka. 122, incineration of Rasaka, extraction essence from Rasaka, incineration of the essence of Rasaka, dying of mercury, etc. by Rasaka. Chapter 2, Gandhaka, variety of sulfur, properties of sulfur. Sulfur is to be purified, purification of Gandhaka. How to take Gandhaka, the Rasayana Gandhaka, sulfur oil dietary, when taking sulfur removal of odor from sulfur. 124, 125, 128, 129, 130, 130, 131, 132, 132, 135, 139, 141, 143, 143, 145, transformation of base metals by Gandhaka, removal of the evil consequences of taking impure sulfur. Page 146, Gairikam, purification of Gairikam, extraction of essence from Gainkam, uses of Gairikam, Kasisam. 140, 147, 147, 148, 150, purification of Kasisam, how to take Kasisam. 151, 152, Kangxi. 153, properties of Kangxi. 153, purification of extraction of essence from Tubari. 154, Haritalam. 155, Patar Haritalam Satur Ratus Lima Pulu Hima Pinda Haritalam Satur Ratus Lima Pulu Henam Godanta Haritalam Vakadala Haritalam, properties of purified Haritalam, fit for incineration. Evils of using impure Haritalam, purification of Haritalam, incineration of Haritalam, liquefaction of Haritalam. Test of incinerated Haritalam. Merits of incinerated Haritalam, accompaniments of Haritalam, extraction and essence from Haritalam. 156, 156, 157, 157, 157, 158, 163, 180, 181, 182, 183. Use of essence of Haritalam. Antidote to the bad effects of taking impure Haritalam dietary. 192, 193, 194. Transformation of base metals into gold by Haritalam. 194. Manas, Shila. Different kinds of manas, Shila. Properties of manas, Shila. 196, 196, 197. Evil effects of taking man's Shila not properly. Purified. 198. Purification of manas, Shila, extraction of essence of manas, Shila. 198, 200. Antidotes to the bad effects of taking impure manas, Shila. 201. Anjanam. 202. Savidanjanam. 202. Nilanjanam. 202. Rasanjanam. 203. Protonjanam. Kuratahanjanam. 204, 205. Pushpanjanam. Purification, Anjanam. 205, 205. Extraction of essence from Anjanams. Solidification of mercury by means of Strotanjana. Kunkustam. Purification of Kunkustam. How to take Kunkustam. 207, 207, 208, 208, 210. Chapter 3rd. 211. Kampila. Purification of Sadarana Uparasis viz. From Kampila. The Bunaga use of Kampila. Gauri Pashana. Purification of arsenic stone. Extraction of essence from Gauri Pashana. Navasara, properties of Navasara. Kapardaka. Properties of kauri or marine shells. Purification of Kapardi, incineration of Kapardika or Kauri Shanka. Purification of Shanka. Incineration of Shanka. 212, 212, 213, 212, 214, 215, 216, 217, WW, 218, 218, 220, 220, 220. Properties of Shanka Bani Jara or Agni Jara. Properties of Girisinduram, red vermilion, fit for use purification of red vermilion hingula. Varieties of hingula. Properties of hingula. Page 221. 221. Girisinduram 222,223. 223. 224. 224. 225. 224. Purification of hingula. 226. Preparations of hingula. Preparation of cinnabar at laboratory. Evil effect of impure hingula. Their remedies. 228. 231. 232. 233. Essence of hingula. 233. Essence of ditto. Mridira Shringaka. Purification of ditto bunaga. Purification of ditto. Properties of essence of earthworm. 233. 234. 234. 235. 235. 236. Chapter 4th. Metals. 237. Gold. 238 varieties of gold. 238 properties of gold. 239 evil effects of taking gold not duly incinerated and purified. 241 purification of gold. 242 incineration of gold. 245 importance of mercury in the incineration of gold. 245 accompaniments of gold. 258 liquefaction of gold. 259 silver. 260 page. Varieties of silver. 260 qualities of silver. 262 silver is to be pure silver. Purification of silver 263. Incineration of silver 265. Uses of incinerated silver. Liquefaction of silver. Camera. Characteristics of bad copper. Good copper. Properties of copper. Evil properties of copper not duly purified and incinerated. Purification of copper. 271. 273. 274. 275. 276. Incineration of copper. Samanatha Tamram Arka. Kalam, nectarization of incinerated copper. Use of incinerated copper. Glossary appendix. 273. 279. 280. 282. WW 287. 288. 289. Chapter 1. The following are the Uparasas. Group I. Bajra Abra. 2 kinds of Makshikam. Bimala, Shilajatu, Utaka, Sasyaka, Chapala, and Rastaka. These are to be collected for purification and incineration. Group 2. Kantaka, Kairika, Kasisa, Kangshi, Haritala, Manas, Shila, Anjana, and Kankusta. These are used in mercurial operations. Group 3rd. Kampila, Guripashana, Navasara, Kapardaka, Agnijara, Jirisindura, Hingula, and Mridara Shringaka, and Bunaga. They are called Uparasas, simply because they possess some of the qualities of Rasa, or mercury. Abram. Mica is a great increaser of vitality. It removes from the system an abnormal excess of Vayu and Pitta and does away with waste. It increases retentive faculties, cures diseases, and increases longevity, energy, and strength. It soothes the system, increases appetite, removes phlegm, increases the power of digestion of food, and produces a cooling effect. It cures all sorts of diseases if administered with suitable anupanam. It helps the solidification of mercury, different kinds of mica. The attributes mentioned above are possessed by that mica only which is procured from a mine having a depth of 12 feet, at least. Mica, procured otherwise, has got no substance and is therefore useless. There are 4 kinds of mica, viz. Pinakam, Nagam, Mandukam, and Bajram. Each of these is again subdivided into 4 different classes according to their color. If subjected to heat, Pinakam splits itself into pieces so that its layers are separated from one another. If taken internally, it causes death by an incurable constipation. If subjected to heat, Nagam emits a hissing sound like that of a snake. Taken internally, it gives rise to a kind of leprosy called Mandalam. If subjected to heat, Mandukam leaps up like a frog. Taken internally, it gives rise to stone disease, incurable, except by surgical operations. If subjected to heat, Bajram is freed from all sorts of impurities and cures all sorts of diseases and strengthens the body, if taken internally in the prescribed. Mica, again, is of 4 different kinds, viz. White, red, yellow, and black. White mica is used in processes imparting a white color to a substance. Red mica is used in imparting a red color to a metal. yellow 317.5. Mica is used in processes imparting a yellow color to a substance, as for example in the transformation of base metals into gold. Although these 4 different kinds of Bajra mica have been recommended for use in medicine, the black Bajra mica is infinitely superior to the other 3 kinds in efficacy. Only that kind of mica is to be made use of in medicines which is soft, full of layers, colored, heavy, and is easily capable of being split up into its constituent layers of mica. Mica should be deprived of its glaze of mica. Mica should be deprived of its glaze. Mercury does not swallow the mica which has not been deprived of its natural glaze and which appears to be dirty. Even if such a mica is swallowed by mercury, it should not be used in medicine, as well as in metallurgical operations. The mica which has been deprived of its natural glaze should be used in all sorts of diseases. Mica, with a glazed surface, if taken internally, gives rise to spermatorrhea and loss of appetite. Those who recommend the use in medicines of mica, as it is found in nature, do no better than prescribe the use of Calicuta poison for the purpose of saving human life. Only that mica, which has been duly purified, should be used for the purpose of extraction of essence as well as for incineration. Otherwise, if taken internally, it will give rise to various kinds of disturbances in the system. Purification of mica. First process. Mica is purified if it is heated strongly for 7 times and immersed each time, either in kanji or cow's urine, then heated for 7 times and immersed, each time in the decoction of triphala, and then again heated for 7 times and immersed in milk with a special care. It is then to be reduced to what is called danya abram and incinerated in the prescribed manner. Second process. Mica may also be purified if it is heated and then immersed while still hot into a decoction of hog plum. It is next to be rubbed with 2 hands, dried, thus reduced to powder. It becomes finer and better than danya abram. Third process. Mica is purified if it is heated strongly for 7 times and immersed each time in the juice of nirgundi leaves. Mica, thus purified, is to be reduced to danya abram and incinerated. Fourth process. Black mica is to be heated and immersed in milk. Its layers are then to be separated from one another and subjected to bhavana with the juice of tandalyaka and a sour, non-metallic liquid. Mica is thus purified. Danya abram. Powdered mica mixed with shali paddy is to be contained in a piece of cloth and formed into a bundle, which is to be kept immersed in kanji for some time. This is then to be rubbed with 2 hands and pressed in the midst of kanji, with the result that very minute particles of mica will come out of the bundle and deposit themselves at the bottom of the pot containing the kanji. These minute particles of mica are called danya abram or paddy mica. First process. Danya abram is to be rubbed carefully with the juice of matsyakshi made into a cake, dried and subjected to heat by means of a half gajaputam. This process is to be performed for 6 times. The mica is next to be rubbed with 1/4 its weight of tankanam and a sufficient quantity of the juice of punarnava, and then made into a cake, which is to be subjected to heat by means of a half gaja putam. The process is to be performed for 7 times. It is similarly to be subjected to putam for 7 times each, after having been previously rubbed with the juices of basaka and tandulyaka. Mica, thus incinerated, may be used in medicines as well as in metallurgical operations. Second process. Danya abram is incinerated if it is subjected to putam for 10 times after having been rubbed each time with the juice of kasamarda. The same purpose is served if the juice of musta or of tandulia is used instead of kasamarda. Third process. Mica is incinerated and assumes the color of red. Vermilion if it is subjected to putam for 6 times after having been rubbed each time with haritalam, the juice of amalaki, and tankanam. This mica cures phthisis and all other diseases if used with suitable anupanam or accompaniment. Fourth process. Mica is incinerated and assumes the color of red. Vermilion if subjected to putam for 20 times after having been rubbed each time with the juice of any one of the following: 1 bark of the root of a banyan tree, leaves of tambuli plant, basa and matsyakshi and karabali, or milk of banyan tree. Fifth process. Mica is incinerated by being subjected to putam for 3 times after having been subjected to bhavana, each time with the juice of aranda leaves mixed with molasses. Mica, thus incinerated, increases appetite to a great extent and cures all sorts of diseases if taken in doses of half a gunja a day, combined with suitable anupanam. Sixth process. Danya abrakam is to be subjected to gajaputam after having been rubbed for 1 day with the juice of punarnava. It is next to be subjected to gajaputam after having been rubbed for 1 day with the juice of meganada. It is then to be subjected to putam for 3 times after having been rubbed with the juices of tamarind, mustaka, and shirana, respectively. It is next to be covered with the leaves of arka or with the petals of banana flower and subjected to putam. Thus treated, mica becomes deprived of its glaze and may be used in medicines and metallurgy. Seventh process. Danya Abram is to be roasted with cow's ghee and decoction of trifles and subjected to putam for 25 times. It is next to be roasted with the juice of casamarda. It is then to be subjected to putam for 3 times, having previously been rubbed with milk every time. The mica, thus deprived of its glaze, may be used in medicines for the removal of diseases, senility, and premature death. Eighth process. 1 part of Danya Abram and 2 parts of Tankanam are to be rubbed together and subjected to heat in a blind crucible by means of a strong fire. When cooled of itself, after the extinction of fire, the mica, finely powdered, can be used in all sorts of diseases. Ninth process. Danya Abram is, first of all, to be rubbed with a sour vegetable juice and subjected to putam. While still hot, it is to be saturated with a sour vegetable juice, rubbed well, and subjected to bhavana with sour aranala. It is next to be boiled with aranala, which is to be dried by the application of heat. This process is to be performed for 20 times, either by heating in the ordinary way or by putam. Care should be taken that heating is commenced in a succeeding stage, while the mica is still hot by the preceding heating. Next, the mica is to be immersed, while still hot, in milk, rubbed with it, and dried up by application of heat. Then, while still hot, it is to be subjected to putam, and then, while still hot, is to be soaked with fresh milk, which is to be dried up by heat. This process of soaking and rubbing the mica with milk, and then drying it up by application of heat, and then subjecting it to putam is to be performed 21 times. It is to be turned frequently in a cauldron or in an earthen pot at the time it is roasted, after it has been soaked and rubbed with milk. It is next to be roasted for 7 days during daytime and subjected to putam at night. The mica is then to be rubbed for 3 days each with the juices of Tanduliaka, Astisanhara, Kalamuli, Punarnava, Chanjeri, Maricha, and Bala, and subjected to putam after every act of rubbing. The prescribed juice, in this case, is to be rubbed with the mica while it is still hot by the previous putam, and the rubbing is to take place in the hot samputam itself. Mica, thus incinerated, turns black. 10th process. Purified Danya Brahm with 1/10 its weight of maricha is to be rubbed with the amla varga, and then subjected to pavana with a sour vegetable liquid for 3 days. When dried, it is to be subjected to putam by a strong fire made of kadira wood. After removal of the upper basin, the mica is to be saturated with a sour vegetable liquid. It is then to be rubbed with the juices of the root, bark, and leaves, respectively, of basaka, shigru, and punarnava, and then saturated for 6 times with 6 different kinds of sour vegetable juices. The mica is then to be rubbed with sugar, honey, clarified, butter, cow's milk, curd, amla, juices of matsyakshi, and karabira for 3 times, and subjected to putam each time with the result that it is incinerated and deprived of its glaze. 11th process. Danyabrakam is to be rubbed for 1 day with the juice of each of the following: matsyakshi, tulasi, root of kokilaksha, root of kanya, root of white, durva, vyadrikanda, and punarnava, and subjected to heat in agaja putam after each day's rubbing. Every act of rubbing in this case to be effective. While the mica is still hot by a previous heating, the mica is similarly to be rubbed with the panchamitram, and then heated by means of agaja putam for 7 times. The mica, thus deprived of its glaze, may be used in all sorts of diseases. 12th process. Danya Abram and an equal quantity of tankanam are to be rubbed together with each of the following, and subjected to putam after every act of rubbing is performed: cow's urine, juice of tulasi, juice of bakuchi, and juice of shirana. It is next to be rubbed with the juice of jayanti and subjected to putam for 3 times. All this process, performed for 4 times, deprives the mica of its glaze and makes it fit for use in all sorts of diseases. 13th process. Danya Abram is to be rubbed with the milk of arka or with the juice of the root of arka, and then subjected to putam. Performance of this process for 7 times causes the incineration of mica. 14th process. Danya Abram is to be immersed in kanji, and it is then to be lump and heat, kept exposed to the sun for 1 day, rubbed for 12 hours, made into a ed by gajaputam. It is next to be immersed in cow's milk in the same way, and similarly rubbed and heated. It is then to be immersed in the juice of cotton leaves, exposed to the sun for 1 day, and then rubbed and heated as before. The mica is then to be dried in the sun and heated by putam over and over again, after having been rubbed each time with one of the following in order of their occurrence: sour vegetable juices, juice of cotton leaves, and cow's milk. 21 such putam will cause the incineration of the mica. 15th process. Danya Abram is to be duly dried up and rubbed for 1 day with the milk of arka or the juice of arka root. It is then to be wrapped up with arka leaves and heated by gajaputam. This process is to be performed carefully for 7 times. The mica is then to be rubbed with a decoction of the aerial roots of a banyan tree and then heated by putam. The last mentioned process is to be performed for 3 times, leading to the incineration of mica, which may now be used in all sorts of diseases. 16th process. Danya Abram is to be rubbed for 3 times with decoction of musta and heated every time by a putam. It is then to be rubbed for 3 times with each of the following and subjected to putam after each act of rubbing: juice of punarnava, juice of casamarda, juice of tambulam, milk of arka, decoction of aerial roots of banyan, juice of mushali, decoction of gokshura, juice of banari, juice of the tuber of banana, juice of kokilaksha, and juice of lodra. The mica is then to be rubbed for 1 time with each of the following and heated by putam after every act of rubbing: juice of lodra, milk, curd, clarified butter, honey, and white sugar. Mica, thus incinerated, cures all sorts of disease if applied with suitable anupanam. It increases masculine strength, power of retention of semen, nutrition, longevity, growth of semen, retentive faculties, and the power of begetting children. 17th process. Mica is to be rubbed with the juice of a banana plant and salt and made into a ball, which is to be kept inside kankanam. This is then to be put inside a hole made into the root of snuhi or arka, the hole being closed tightly with a portion of the same root. The whole thing is now to be subjected to heat by a fire made of charcoal and kept kindled by a fan. 18th process. Mica is incinerated and assumes the color of a lotus flower if subjected to putam for 100 times, after having been rubbed well with each of the following: milk of banyan, milk of arka, milk of snuhi, juice of kanya, juice of musta, man's urine, juice of the aerial roots of banyan tree, and goat's blood. 19th process. Danya Abraham is incinerated if subjected to putam for 1,000 times, after having been rubbed each time with cow's urine. 20th process. Danya Abraham, properly dried, an equal quantity of musta and 6 times its weight of shunthi are to be rubbed for 1 day each with kanji and the juice of chitraka, and then subjected to gajaputam. It is then to be rubbed with the decoction of triphala and subjected to putam in the same manner for 3 times. It is next to be rubbed with each of the following and heated by putam for 3 times after each act of rubbing: juice or decoction of bala, cow's urine, juice of mushali, juice of tulasi, and juice of shuranam. 21st process. Danya Brahm is to be rubbed, first of all, with the juice of chanjeri, and then with the juice of tanduliaka. It is then to be heated by means of kadira wood, and when red hot, to be thrown into milk. The process is to be repeated until the mica is deprived of its glaze. 22nd process. Danya Abram, with an equal quantity of molasses, is to be rubbed with excellent milk, made into a cake, dried, and then heated by gajaputam. It is next to be rubbed separately with the juice of each of the following, and subjected to heat by gajaputam. Every time it is so rubbed: datura, gajapipali, kanya, and uttalam. Mica, thus treated, becomes incinerated. 23rd process. Danya Abram is to be rubbed with the juice of any grass and subjected to putam. Performance of this process for 10 times will lead to the incineration of the mica, which will also be deprived of its glaze. 24th process. 2 parts of Danya Abram and 1 part of purified sulfur are to be rubbed together with the milk of banyan and subjected to gajaputam for once only. This will result in the incineration of mica. 25th process. Danya Abram is incinerated and cures all sorts of diseases if rubbed with each of the following for 7 times, and subjected to putam after every act of rubbing: punarnava, kumari, shunti, banari, mushali, ikshu, amalaki, milk of arka, and milk of shahundu. 26th process. Danya Abraham, duly purified, especially with decoction of triphala, is to be kept immersed for 40 days in 4 times the quantity of shuktam. Then, 2 tolas of purified mercury, 4 tolas of fresh babula flour, and 4 tolas of fresh gum of babula are to be rubbed together, made into a ball, which is to be thrown into the shuktam. The whole thing is next to be turned by means of a rod every day for 3 days only, and by no means for a longer period, and after the expiry of these days, to be rubbed together in a mortar and made into a cake when sufficiently condensed. This cake is to be dried in the sun and heated in a gajaputam. It is next to be rubbed with a fresh quantity of shuktam for 1 day only, and then subjected to putam by a fire made of cow dung cake, found dried in the pasturage. These last 2 processes, viz., rubbing with a fresh quantity of shuktam and heating by cow dung cakes, if performed for 3 times, result in the incineration of the mica. If taken in doses of 1 gunja a day, it even enables a blind man to recover his eyesight. It also cures all sorts of diseases, and especially indigestion, impurities of blood, gonorrhea, carbuncles, abnormal thirst, leprosy, enlargement of spleen, diseases pertaining to. Shuktam is prepared as follows: 1 prastha of boiled rice made into a paste, 20 prasthas of kanji, 30 tolas of curd, 1 prastha of molasses, 32 tolas of the residues of kanji, 64 tolas of shunti, and 8 tolas of pipali, jira, sandava, haridra, and maricha. Combined, all these things are to be kept for 8 days in an earthen vessel previously soaked with clarified butter. It is then to be filtered and mixed with 3 tolas each of Gouda Twaka, Ila, Naga Kashara, and Patri. 2. The beni in the stomach, tortura, worms, and consumption. It is moreover very nutritive. 27th process. Dhanyavram is to be rubbed for 7 days with each of the following during daytime and heated by Gajaputam every corresponding night, milk of Arka, cow's milk, juices of Brahmi, Rudanti, Bala, Basta, Chitraka, Shalmali, Vilba, Haritaki, Kushmanda, Dadima, Jati, Gokshura, Shankha, Puspi, Meda, Anantamula, Barbari, Draksha, Mula, Rakshasi, Tulasi, Mundi, Indrabaruni, Mada, Gojiva, Vidari Creeper, Shringi, Bacha, Jetamansi, Shata Puspa, and Arka. The Mika is next to be subjected to bhavana for 20 times with each of the 2 juices, viz. The juice of the aerial roots of banyan and the juice of Kishraja, and heated by Putam after every such act of bhavana. It is next to be rubbed separately with the juices of Kapita and seeds of Chinchini, and heated by Putam after each act of rubbing. It is next to be subjected to Putam for 15 times after having been rubbed each time with the following mixed together: lemon juice, cow's milk, solution of molasses, curd, khanda gouda, clarified butter, and pure honey. Thus treated, the mica will be deprived of its glaze and assume a red appearance. This will then be fit for use by king. 28th process. Mica is to be rubbed with each of the following: Nagabala, Badramusta, milk of banyan, juice of the aerial roots of banyan, juice of haridra, and subjected to Putam after it's being rubbed with each of them. Mica, thus incinerated, assumes a red appearance. 29th process. Dhanyabram is to be rubbed with the juice of Matsyakshi, made into a cake, dried, and then heated in Nagajaputam. It is thus to be rubbed with the juice of Punarnava and heated by Gajaputam for 6 times. It is next to be rubbed with 1/16. Its weight of tankanam made into a cake and heated by fire being applied on the upper side of the stamputam, which is to be in a pit made in the earth. This process of rubbing with tankanam and heating is to be performed for 7 times. It is next to be rubbed with each of the following for 7 times each, and heated in the aforesaid way after it's being rubbed each time: juice of basa and juice of tanduliaka. Mica, thus incinerated, may be used in all sorts of diseases. 30th process. Vajra abra is to be rubbed in a mortar with hot milk of cow and heated by a mild fire in an iron cauldron, mixed with a little of clarified butter. This mica, with sali patty, contained in a piece of cloth, made into a bundle, is to be rubbed in kanji, with the result that minute particles of mica will come out through the cloth. These particles are called Dhanya Abaram, and they are pure. This mica is incinerated if rubbed with each of the following drugs during daytime, then dried in the sun, and heated by Putam by means of cow dung cake at night. The names of the drugs in their sequence are as follows: milk of Arka, Banyan, Badri, and Kanya, juices of Aranda root, Jaba, Tikta, Musta, Uduchi, Banga, Gokshura, Bartakini, Chalaparni, Prisnaparni, Tuatasarshapa, Apamarga, aerial roots of banyan tree, Vilba, Agnimanta, Chitrika, Tinduka, Haritaki, Patali, Amalaki, Bibitaki, Kumbi growing in water, Talishpatram, Talamuli, Vastaka, Astwaganda.
Kishara Jakadali Saptaparni Dhatura, Lodra, Devadaru, Tulsi Durba, White Durba Kasamarda, Marisha Dadima, Kakamashi Shankapuspi, Nata, Tambula Punarnava Brahmi, Indra Baruni, Bhargi Devadali Kapitta, Shivalingi Katurohini Kinshuka, Goshataki, Induraparni, Meenakshi, Karavi, Tilaparni, Kumbi, Ardraka, Shadabari, goat's blood, and cows. Urine. Characteristics of killed mica. Mica is said to be killed or incinerated if it is deprived of its glaze and becomes as fine as collyrium, otherwise it is to be considered unkilled. Impartation of the qualities of nectar upon killed mica. 16 palams of decoction of trifala, 8 palams of cow's ghee, and 10 palams of killed mica are to be mixed together and heated in an iron cauldron by a mild fire until the whole thing gets dried. This mica gains in efficacy and is to be used in all sorts of diseases. The same process is to be followed in the nectarization of other metals also. Another process of nectarization, mica. Incinerated mica with an equal quantity of clarified butter are to be heated in an iron cauldron until the ghee is dried up. Efficacy of mica is enhanced by this process. NB. These processes hold good in the cases of dead mica, not red in color, the qualities of dead. Mica, red in color, do not improve by the process of nectarization. On the other hand,
red mica undergoes deterioration in efficacy by this process. Importance of putam in killing of mica. Mica, incinerated by putams numbering 10 to 100, is to be used only for the purpose of curing of disease. Mica, incinerated by putams numbering 100 to 1000, may be used for the purposes of curing and preventing physical decay and senility. Another view. Mica, incinerated by putam for 18 times, becomes pacifier of bayu. It becomes a pacifier of pitam if incinerated by putam for 54 times. Mica subjected to putam for more than 100 times is entitled to the name of bijam. Such a mica increases semen, vitality, complexion, and strength of body. Rubbing not necessary in putams for 1000 times. If it is intended to subject mica to putam for 1000 times, it need not be rubbed with any of the prescribed juices. The mere act of subjecting the mica to pavana with the prescribed juices will suffice in such a case. Killers of mica. Mica is also incinerated by being subjected to putam after having been rubbed with the following: Tanduliyaka, Brihati, Nagabali, Sagarpadika, Punarnava. Purified gold and silver, as well as mica of the above description, are called bijam, simply because they are fit for being swallowed by mercury. Ilamochika, Mandukaparni, Tiktaka, Akuparni, Madana, Ardraka, Palasha, Mercury, and Amalaki. Use of incinerated mica. Mica of an excellent quality cures phthisis, jaundice, chronic diarrhea, colic, dysentery, leprosy, fever, asthma, gonorrhea, aversion to food, loss of appetite, cough, and pain in the abdomen. If taken in doses of 1 bala at a time, with bidanga, trikatu, and ghee. It also cures all other diseases, if taken with the suitable anupanam. Special accompaniment of incinerated mica. Mica, even if it is used without any accompaniment, can prevent senile decay, arrival of premature death, and diseases in general, but for the purpose of curing diseases, it may be used with suitable accompaniment. It is to be used with haridra, pipali, and honey in 20 different kinds of pramea, with incinerated gold in pieces and for increase of the dhatus, with incinerated gold and silver for increase of the dhatus, with haritaki, molasses, ella, and sharkara in raktapitam, with trikatu, triphala, chaturjata. Sharkara and honey taken in the morning in pieces, piles, and jaundice, with essence of guduchi and fine molasses and spermatoria, with ella, gokshura, budatri, sharkara, and clarified cow's butter. In mutrakritra, with pipali and honey in giddiness and remittent fever, with honey and triphala for improvement of eyesight, with essence of murba and boils, carbuncles, etc., with balataka and piles, with shunthi, ruda puskara, bargi, asva, ganda, and honey in badabyadi, with chaturcham and sugar in excess of pitam, with ketvalam, pipali, and honey, in excess of phlegm, with all the ksharas for increase of the power of digesting food, with ella, gokshura, budatri, cow's milk, and sugar, in mutragata, mutrakrishkra, and ashmari, with cow's milk and bhumi kushmanda for increase of strength, with juice of vijaya for retention of semen with labanga, and honey for increase of the dhatus, with cow's milk and sugar in excess of pitam, with shailaya, pipali, and honey in all sorts of spermatoria, with haritaki and molasses in bataraktam, with triphala, honey and ghee in eye diseases and for increase of semen, and with the trisugandhi, triphala, trikatu, shakara, nagakeshara, and honey in jaundice, phthisis, and fever. 42. General directions for use of mica. One should take every morning for a whole year a pill, 1 nishka in weight, made of 1 rakta of incinerated mica and an equal quantity of amalaki, trikatu, and vedanga. The dose is to be increased to 2 such pills to be taken every morning during the 2nd year. It is similarly to be raised to 3 pills being taken every morning during the 3rd year. A man taking 100 palams of incinerated mica in the aforesaid way grows very strong with an adamantine constitution. One who takes mica in this way and observes regulations for proper diet becomes free in 3 months from all sorts of diseases, including phthisis, 5 different kinds of cough, heart disease, gulma, chronic diarrhea, piles, fistula, rheumatism, consumption, jaundice, and 18 different kinds of leprosy. Dietary to be observed by one who takes mica. One who takes mica should avoid taking the following ksharas, amlas, pulses, karkati, carabella, brintaka, harira, and oils. Evil effect of taking mica not properly incinerated. Mica not properly incinerated, including that which has not been deprived of its blaze, may, all on a sudden, put an end to the life of one who takes it internally. Such mica also gives rise to all sorts of diseases, like the fur of a tiger, which finds its way into the belly or any other part of the body. Removal of the evil effects of impure mica. One is freed from the evil effects of taking impure mica if one takes for 3 days amalaki fruit rubbed with water, extraction of essence of mica. First process. Mica powdered and immersed for 1 day in aranala and mixed with a little of Suriname, and with 1/4 its quantity of tonkanam and a few shafari fishes, is to be subjected to bhavana with the juice of the tuber of banana plant. This is then to be rubbed with she-buffalo stool, made into a lump, dried, and heated in a costum by a strong fire made of banyan wood, resulting in the extraction of an essence. This essence is superior to all the metals in efficacy and may be used for prevention of senility and diseases after being duly incinerated. This essence, found in the form of small particles, is to be collected, kept in a crucible, and heated in conjunction with what is called the mitra panchakam, with the result that the particles of the essence will smelt together into a mass resembling a piece of bell metal. This essence is to be purified and incinerated in the same way as iron. The panchamitram are ghee, honey, gugulu, gunja, and tankanam. They bring about a combination of the 7 different metals by being heated together by a fire made of charcoal. Second process of extraction of essence of mica. Purified mica, with 1/4 its quantity of tankanam, is to be rubbed with the juice of mushali and heated steadily by means of a kosti yantram. This will lead to the coming out of the essence. Third process. Mica is to be rubbed separately with each of the following and dried in the sun. After it is rubbed every time, Casamarda, Musta, Osaka, Unarnaba, Brahmi or Hilamoshika, Carabella leaves, and Hensapati. It is then to be rubbed separately with 1/8 its quantity of each of the following, and similarly dried in the sun, powdered wheat, small fish, and tankanam. It is next to be rubbed with the milk, curd, ghee, urine, and stool of a goat, or a cow, or a buffalo, and made into a small ball a little bigger than a hinduka fruit. The ball is then to be subjected to heat in a patala kosti, which lets the essence drop downwards and deposit itself down below. The remains of the ball are to be freed from dirt, rubbed with a little of tankanam and cow dung, and again made into a ball which is to be dried and heated in the aforesaid manner for the extraction of more essence. The remains of the second ball, if there are any, are again to be treated in the same manner for the extraction of more essence. Fourth process. Essence of mica is extracted if it is rubbed with the powder of each of the following and sufficient. Quantity of milk made into a ball, in a kosti jantram, molasses, sesamus cake, tankanam, wool, rala, and then heated gugulu, laksha, and small fishes. By this process, it is possible to obtain essences even of such hard things as stone, earth, etc., not to speak of mica. Fifth process. Danya Abram is to be rubbed with the following in order of their occurrence: tankanam, molasses, tankanam, red glass, mahisha, panchakam, laksha, exudation of sarja tree, juice of the tuber of banana, small fish, juice of Suriname, juice of castor leaves, hingu duly purified, tankanam, juice of wild Suriname, and honey. The whole thing is to be made into a ball and dried. This is then to be subjected to heat, which turns it into something resembling oxidized iron. This lump is then to be powdered, and essence of mica, very fine and soft, is to be collected from these powders. First process of purification of essence of mica. The essence of mica is to be purified and incinerated in the same way as iron. Second process of purification. The particles of essence of mica are to be kept confined with the shodhani agana and sour kanji in a crucible and heated until the smelting of the particles. The essence is then to be heated again twice. Thus purified, the essence becomes fit by incineration for being swallowed by mercury and for use as a rasayanam. For meaning of shodhani agana, see vol. I, page 306. Incineration of essence of mica. First process. Mica is to be incinerated in the same way as iron. Second process. Essence of mica, mercury, and sulfur, each equal in quantity, are to be rubbed with the juice of kanya and heated in a baluka jantram for 2 days. The contents of the samputam or malamusha are then to be taken out and taken in doses of 1 masha a day. Thus taken, it cures in a short time phthisis, consumption, cough, gonorrhea of an obstinate type, jaundice, and thinness. Third process. Essence of mica is to be powdered very fine and sifted through a piece of fine cloth. It is then to be heated in a piece of earthen vessel until it gets red hot, or until a straw thrown upon it is reduced to ashes. The powder is then to be rubbed with sulfur, and the juice of the aerial roots of a banyan tree, and subjected to baraha-putam for 20 times. It is then to be rubbed with decoction of triphala, and subjected to putam for 20 times more. It is then to be rubbed separately with each of the following, and subjected to putam after every act of rubbing triphala, mundiri, baringaraja, haritaki, bibitaki, and mula. The essence of mica, thus incinerated, gains in efficacy. If subjected to putam for 100 times, it proves more efficacious and acquires the power of digesting food and increasing appetite. It cures all sorts of diseases if taken in doses of half a rakti with suitable anupanam. Fourth process. Lump of essence of mica is to be heated and cooled by being thrown into unfiltered kanji and broken into pieces immediately by means of an iron bar. The pieces which cannot be finely powdered by hammering are to be again heated, thrown into kanji, and hammered again, as before. The powders, thus obtained, are to be mixed with cow's ghee, and heated red hot for 3 times, being rubbed every time with the juice of the fruits or leaves of amalaki after the powder gets red hot. It is then to be subjected to putam for 10 times, being rubbed each time with the juice of punarnava mixed with kanji. It is next to be subjected to putam for 10 times more, being rubbed each time with an equal quantity of sulfur. Essence of mica, thus incinerated, becomes the most efficacious, and may be used in the exhaustion of mica, and for purpose of prevention and cure of diseases and senility. How incinerated essence of mica is. To be used. The general rule with regard to the use of incinerated essence of mica, kanta iron, and tikshna iron is that each of these is to be subjected to bhavana, with decoction of triphala for as many times as are necessary for making the incinerated metal assume a black appearance. It is then to be dried and sifted through a fine piece of cloth, mixed with the juices of bringaraja, amalaki, haridra, honey, goat's ghee, cow's urine, and kept for a month inside a heap of paddy, confined within an iron sampikam. The mica, thus treated, is a very good medicine. It increases long. Vidi to a great extent if taken for 1 year with ghee and honey. Softening of essence of mica. All sorts of hard essences, including those of metals, are softened if smelted with honey, oil, fat, and ghee, and cooled, all these being done for 10 times. Liquefaction of mica. First process. Janyabram is to be rubbed with the juice of agastya leaves and kept confined within a tuber of choranam. It is then to be placed inside a pit, 11 foot deep, cut in a land where cows are kept. This mica will be found to resemble mercury if taken out after a month. Second process. Purified leaves of black mica are to be soaked with pilu oil and dried in the sun, the process being, are then, to date boka, will the Amadarga see page 301, vol E, and similarly to be dried. Next are to be procured equal quantities of ksharas of the following, powdered well: Snuhi, Arka, Arjuna, Chitraka, Katutumbi, Vibhakshara, Dwarjikshara, and Tankanam. The mica leaves are then to be rubbed with these ksharas and subjected to bhavana for 3 days with the decoction of the following: Vajrakanda, Shira, Kanda, Brihati, Kantakari, and Banabrintaka. The mica leaves are then to be coated with a concentrated solution of the ksharas mentioned above, kept on a bell metal pot and dried, the process being repeated as many times as necessary for 3 days, resulting in the liquefaction of mica. Third process. Danya Abram, with an equal quantity of powdered karkoti fruit and mitrapachakam combined, is to be rubbed with a sour juice for 1 day and heated in a crucible resulting in a liquefaction. Fourth process. And made into a tuber of a banana. Danya Abram, with 1/4 its quantity of cow's flesh and saindava are to be rubbed for 3 days with the milks of Snuhi and Arka, and with the juice of basaka, ball which is to be put inside the plant, coated all over with mud. The whole thing is to be heated for 3 days by means of a fire made of cow dung cake, resulting in a clear liquefaction of the mica. Fifth process. Mica is to be powdered very fine and subjected to bhavana with human oil. It is then to be subjected to heat by being put into a crucible, previously coated all over its inner surface, with a worm called Indragopa or Gopendra. The result will be a liquefaction of the mica. Sixth process. Powdered white mica is to be subjected to bhavana with cow's urine and then with the juice of banana. It is then to be confined in a blind crucible and subjected to heat over and over again until it turns into a liquid. Seventh process. Essence of Danya Abram, rubbed with the juice of Bajrabali and Sao Bashal salt and subjected to putam for several times, assumes the appearance of mercury. Eighth process. Powdered devadali, subjected to bhavana for many times, with its own juice, if thrown upon essence of mica, causes the liquefaction of the latter. This liquid comes to be condensed of itself and even changes itself into gold in course of time. Ninth process. Essence of mica, as well as any metal, undergoes liquefaction if powdered tuber of kanchuki, already subjected to bhavana with its own juice, is thrown upon it. How to amalgamate more than one metal in a state of cold liquid. More than one such liquids amalgamate if rubbed with the juice of palasha seeds, mixed with black aguru, musk, menas, shila, onion, and white hingu, and heated. Transformation of tin into silver by means of mica. White mica, white glass, aconite, sandava, and tankanam are to be rubbed with the milk of snuhi for 1 day and made into a paste with which are to be coated the surfaces of a tin foil 4 times in. Weight of the paste. The tin foil is next to be subjected to heat in a blind crucible. When smelted, it will have to be poured into putranjiba oil. The process of coating with paste, heating, and then immersion into putranjiba oil is to be performed for 7 times each, respectively, with the result that the tin will turn into a very fine white silver. Second process. White mica, sulfur, mercury, and a red flour, these four, rubbed with the milk of sahandu, turn tin into silver, makshikam. The makshika, which, on being broken to pieces, presents a surface bright with golden tints, with a rather black interior, is superior to the common variety. This variety of makshika is called Brihad Varna, or having a superior color. Makshika is of two kinds, viz. Swarna makshika and Rupya makshika. The first has got golden tints and is to be found in Kanya Kubja, the other variety called Rupya makshika, which resembles gold parts fine and contains much of stone, is to be found in the banks of river Tapati. It is of inferior quality. Both these varieties of pyrites grow in rocks abounding in golden ores. They are generally found in the river Tapi, Kirata, China, and Kanauj. These are generally visible in spring in the hot bed of the river Tapi. The makshika, which has golden tints, is sweet in taste, and that which resembles silver in appearance is sour in taste. Both of them are a little astringent in taste, have a cooling effect on the system, turn pungent after they're being digested in the stomach, and are light. One who takes makshikam regularly is never overwhelmed with senility, disease, and poison. Detailed classification of pyrites. Makshikas are of three different kinds, VLZ, yellow, white, red. They are also subdivided into four classes according to their shape, due to the difference in the location of the soils in which they are to be found, viz., round like a kadamba flower, having the shape of an oyster shell, having the shape of a finger ring, and resembling burnt tubari in color. Of these varieties, the one which is yellowish is called Swarna makshika, and that which is reddish is called Bimala. Swarna makshika is the best of all these varieties. It has the color of gold parts fine. Bimala is a bit inferior in quality to Swarna makshika similarly. The makshika, which has the shape of an oyster shell, and some other varieties having the color of silver, are the worst of all, as regards merit of these different varieties. It depends upon the quantity of gold contained in each. Swarna makshika is so called because it contains a little of gold. It is a semi-metal containing a little of gold, and, therefore, has to a certain extent the qualities possessed by gold. But, on account of its containing other ingredients, it has got other qualities also. Swarna makshika has the appearance of gold, has no angles, is heavy, leaves a black impression when rubbed on the palm. The Swarna makshika, which is superior in quality, should have the following characteristics: gold-like complexion, heaviness, softness, a little blue tint, and causing a gold-like impression when rubbed on a piece of touchstone. The second variety is Rupya makshika. It has the color of silver. It is so called because it contains a little of silver. It is therefore inferior to Swarna. Makshika in quality, not only does it possess some of the qualities of silver, but it has got some other qualities also on account of its containing some other ingredients. Merits of makshika. Makshika cures all sorts of diseases. It is the soul of mercury, so to speak, is nutritive, and can help the combination of two metals otherwise difficult to combine. It is one of the best of all medicines, competent to cure all sorts of diseases and to prevent senile decay. Especially, it improves eyesight and cures diseases of the abdomen, leprosy, jaundice, venereal diseases, poison, udara roga, piles, dropsy, phesis, itches, and an abnormal excess of the three. Doshas. Evil effects of taking makshika, not properly purified. Makshika, not properly purified and incinerated, gives rise to loss of appetite, loss of vigor, swelling of the belly with gas attended with constipation, eye diseases, leprosy, scrofula, carbuncle, and even death. Purification of makshika. Makshika is to be boiled with human urine and then to be confined within the tuber of Puranam, and again boiled for 1 day in a dola jantram with the juice of kodrava, juice of amla betasta, the amla varga, sankanam, and trikatu. It is then to be boiled for 1 day with the juice of banana plant and then subjected to putam after having been rubbed with ghee and castor oil. Second process. 3 parts of makshika and 1 part of rock. Salt are to be boiled in an iron put with the juice of matulunga or jambira and turned all the while with an iron ladle until the makshika gets red hot and assumes the color of copper. Third process. The root of shigru is first of all to be rubbed with the juice of agasti flower and then with the juice of pashana bedi. The whole thing is then to be rubbed with makshika and made into a ball, which is to be subjected to heat in a blind crucible by means of 20 pieces of cow dung cake. It is then to be rubbed as before and heated in the same way. The process is thus to be performed for 6 times, leading to the purification of makshika. Fourth process. Makshika, reduced to powder, is to be put inside a ball made of meganada and pashana bedi, rubbed together with water. The ball is then wrapped up in a piece of cloth and boiled for 1 day by means of a dola jantram filled with a decoction of kulatagram. Thus purified, the makshika becomes fit for being incinerated. Fifth process. Makshika, finely powdered, is to be wrapped up in a piece of cloth and boiled by means of a dola jantram, filled with the juices of tandulyaka and chalincha. The substance deposited at the bottom of the dola jantram is to be considered purified. Sixth process. Makshika, duly wrapped up in a piece of thick cloth, is to be boiled for 3 days in a dola jantram to be filled with kanjika, lime juice mixed with cow's urine, and juice of jayanti leaves, respectively. Seventh process. Makshika is to be rubbed for 3 hours with castor oil and then heated in a basin by a fire made of 30 pieces of cow dung balls found dried in a pasturage. Eighth, ninth, and 10th processes. Makshika is purified if boiled with castor oil mixed with the juice of matulunga fruit, or if boiled for 2 hours with banana plant juice, or if heated and soaked with the cocked trifla. 11th process. The first process of purification of Bimala. 12th process. Makshika is purified if it is boiled, first of all, with the juice of nimbu, and then put inside a paste made of the root of Shapanjana, rubbed with the juice of basaka flower, and subjected to putam. 13th process. Makshika is purified if it is heated and immersed in each of the following: oil, takram, decoction of kulata, and that of trifala. Incineration of Makshika. First process. Makshika is incinerated if it is rubbed with the juice of matulunga and sulfur, confined in a crucible, and then subjected to krota putam for 5 times. Second process. Makshika is incinerated if rubbed with castor oil or cow's ghee or juice of matulunga and then placed on a basin and heated steadily. Thus incinerated, it may be used in mercurial operations as well as for medicinal purposes. Third process. Makshika is incinerated if it is rubbed with the decoction of kulata or takra or goat's urine and then heated in a cauldron and turned all the while by means of a ladle. Fourth process. Makshika with 1/4 its quantity of sulfur is to be rubbed with castor oil and made into cake, which are to be confined within a samputam and subjected to gajaputam with husk of paddy put on all sides of the samputam. This will reduce the nakshika to ashes, as red as vermilion. Fifth process. Purified makshika is to be rubbed with the juice of kumari, made into cake, dried, and then subjected to kukutaputam for 27 times, which make it like nectar. Extraction of essence of makshika. Makshikam, mixed with 1/13 of its weight of lead, rubbed with ksharas and amlas and heated in an uncovered crucible, emits its essence. The lead is then eliminated from the essence if it is heated and immersed in the juice of Nirgundi for 7 times. Second process. Makshika is to be subjected to repeated bhavanas with honey, castor oil, cow's urine, clarified butter, and juice of banana plant, and then heated in a crucible, with the result that a soft copper-like essence comes out of the makshika. The essence, which resembles a gunja seed in color, is capable of smelting very quickly and is cool and pure, can make the body as strong as iron. Third process. Makshika, duly purified, is to be rubbed with lime juice and heated a little with some rock salt. It is then to be kept surrounded on all sides with tankanam in an earthen crucible and subjected to kukuta, putam. This will result in the emission of an essence, somewhat red in color. Fourth process. Makshika is to be subjected to bhavana for 1 day with the milks of cow and tota plant, and then rubbed and made into a lump, which is to be put into an iron tube, dried in the sun and then heated by means of a patala kosti or patala yantram, exactly in the same way as mica. The inner surface of the crucible, in this case, is to be coated with a paste made of jayanti, powdered triphala, turmeric, molasses, and hankanam. The last mentioned being 1/4 in quantity of the preceding 4 things combined. Use of essence of makshika. Essence of makshika is to be rubbed with mercury until the former disappears altogether. Sulfur is then to be rubbed similarly. Liquefied essence of mica is then to be mixed with the amalgam and made into a ball, which is to be subjected to heat for 12 hours in a lavana yantram by means of a mild fire. When cooled of itself, the product is to be taken out and used in doses of 1 bala a day with the anupanam of honey, trikatu, and bidanga. Thus used, it cures in a week senility and all sorts of diseases, including those which are very obstinate. Liquefaction of essence of makshika. Essence of makshika is liquefied if it is mixed with a little of the compound made of gunja seeds, honey, and tankanam, rubbed with castor oil. Accompaniments of makshika. Incinerated makshika is to be used in medicine with the following accompaniments: triphala, triketu, bidanga, and ghee. Removal of evil effects caused by a makshika not properly purified. The evil effects of makshika are removed by a decoction of kulata or of the bark of pomegranate. Bimala. Makshika with red tints is called bimala. It is of 3 kinds, viz. Swarna bimala, having golden, or yellow tints as well, rupia bimala and kanzia bimala. They are to be recognized by their color. All of them are globular, furnished with angles and faces, and soft. Bimala is a pacifier of air and animal heat in the system, nutritive, and a good preventer and curer of diseases. The first, viz. Swarna Bimala, is used in operations leading to the transformation of base metals into gold. The second, viz. Rupya Bimala, is used in operations leading to the transformation of base metals into silver, whereas the third, viz. Kansya Bimala, is used only in medicine. In quality, the first is better than the second, and the second is better than the third. First process. Makshika as well as Bimala, first of all to be put inside the tuber of a Shuranam, and then boiled with each of the following: cow's urine, aranala, oil, cow's milk, banana plant juice, decoction kulatha, and decoction of kadrava. It is then to be rubbed with kshara, amla, salt, oil, and ghee, and subjected to putam for 3 times. This is how it is purified. Second process. Bimala is purified if boiled with a decoction of basaka. Third process. Bimala may be purified if boiled well with banana plant juice. Fourth process. Bimala, as well as other metals, is purified if boiled with the juice of a lime fruit or of meshashringi. Fifth process. 3 kinds of Bimala are purified if rubbed with the juice of amla bitasa, danya amla, and iwis urine, and boiled in a dola jantram for 12 hours with the juice of banana plant. Sixth process. Bimala is purified if subjected to bhavana in intense heat of the sun with decoctions of karkata shringi, mesha shringi, and lime juice. Incineration of Bimala. First process. Bimala is incinerated by being rubbed with sulfur and juice of lakucha and then subjected to putam for 10 times. Second process. Bimala is incinerated if it is subjected to gajaputam for 3 times, after having been rubbed each time with sulfur and juice of mathalunga, extraction of essence of Bimala. First process. The inner surface of a crucible is to be coated all over with Bimala, previously rubbed well with tankanam, decoction of lakucha, and ashes of meshashringi. The crucible is then to be dried, closed hermetically, and heated by means of 6 process of charcoal, with the result that Bimala discharges an essence resembling lead. Mercury, combined with this essence, becomes preventer and curer of senility and physical decay. A. Second process. Bimala is to be mixed with kangshi, kasisa, tankanam, wild shuranam, kshara of mokshaka tree, and subjected to bhavana with juices of shigru and banana plant. It is then to be put inside a blind crucible and heated, with the result that the Bimala will discharge an essence resembling a mixed metal containing 16 parts of silver and 12 parts of copper. Use of the essence of Bimala. 1 unit of essence of Bimala is to be rubbed with an equal quantity of mercury and the same quantity of sulfur, until the sulfur disappears altogether. It is next to be mixed with the following: 3 units of haritala, 5 units of manashila, 1/10 of a unit of incinerated silver, the same quantity of incinerated vikranta. All these are to be mixed together and sifted through a piece of cloth, and then subjected to heat by means of a baluka jantram. The medicine thus prepared cures the following diseases: if taken with trikatu, triphala, and ghee: senility, which causes unhappiness, swelling of the body, anemia, gonorrhea, loss of appetite, piles, chronic diarrhea, colic, phthisis, jaundice, and all sorts of diseases due to an abnormal excess of vayu and pittam in the system. For the cure of these diseases, no other medicines are considered necessary. Shilajatu. Shilajatu is the exudation caused by the intense heat of the sun, from rocks in the womb of which lie deposited gold and other metals. It is soft as mud and resembles shellac in appearance. Shilajatu is of 2 kinds, viz. Gomutra Shilajatu, E, the variety which possesses the odor of cow's urine, and Karpura Shilajatu, Z-E, the variety which has the odor of camphor. The first of these 2, viz. Gomutra Shilajatu, is again subdivided into 2 classes, viz. The variety which has got some essence or substance and that which has got no essence or substance. Of these 2, that which has got essence or substance is better than the other variety. Shilajatu exudes from heated rock containing gold, silver, copper, iron, tin, and lead, that exuding from iron ores being the best quality. Shilajatas coming out of gold, silver, copper, and iron are especially suitable for the pacification of an abnormal excess in the system of vayu, combined with pittam, kapha combined with pittam, kapha only, and the 3 doshas combined, respectively. For the purpose of preventing and curing senility, the shilajatu, which comes out of iron, is the best. Special properties of different kinds of shila jatu, gold shilajatu. The shilajatu, which exudes from ores containing gold, is sweet, slightly bitter, red like java flower, soothing, dense, and having a tinge of red ochre. It produces a cooling effect on the system, turns pungent and bitter when digested in the stomach, and pacifies an abnormal excess of vayu and pittam. Silver shilajatu. The shilajatu which exudes from silver ores is as white as moon or conch shell, It has the taste of kshara mixed with pungence, sourness, and sweetness. It is not easily digested. It gives rise to belching and inflammation of the heart. It is dense. It cures 98. All diseases due to pittum, and especially anemia and jaundice. It also cures spermatorrhea, mucus, chronic fever, anemia, consumption, enlargement of the spleen, and diseases due to an excess of vayu. Copper Shila Jatu. Copper Shila Jatu has the same color as that of the neck of a peacock and of the feathers of a papaya bird. It is bitter, pungent, and stimulant. It is a good remover of obesity. Iron Shila Jatu. It resembles gugu in appearance, is bitter and saltish, and turns pungent and cool when digested in the stomach. It is a preventer and curer of thanao, decay, and has the power of pacifying the three doshas, viz., vayu, pittam, and kapha. It is the best of all Shila Jatus. Tinshila Jatu. It is somewhat bitter, pungent, dense, mud-like, and has the odor and color of tin. It destroys. In a short time, dropsy, gonorrhea, fever, consumption, and erysipelas. Lead Shila Jatu. It is soft, stimulating, and bitter in taste, but turns pungent when digested in the stomach. It has the color of a flower. It imparts complexion, vitality, and vigor to the person who uses it regularly. Test of genuine Shila Jatu. Genuine Shila Jatu will burn without emitting any smoke, and when burnt, will assume the appearance of oxidized iron. If thrown into water by means of grass points, it will sink in the shape of threads. Properties of Shila Jatus in general. Shila Jatu is neither sour nor astringent. It turns pungent after it is digested in the stomach. It has the merit of increasing the properties of the substance with which it is mixed and taken internally. It prevents and cures senile decay. It produces neither a heating nor a cooling effect on the system. It has the property of removing mucus and other dirts from the system. It can also cure an excess of phlegm, shaking of the limbs, stone disease, sugar in urine, stricture and gleat, consumption, asthma, piles due to an excess of vayu, hysteria, insanity, nausea, leprosy, worms, fever, jaundice, dropsy, spermatorrhea, loss of appetite, obesity, pieces, colic, gulma, enlargement of the spleen, udararoga, pain in the heart, dysentery, and all sorts of skin diseases. It is very useful as a medicine as well as an alchemy. Purification of Shila Jatu. First process. Shila Jatu is purified if it is rubbed for 1 day with any one of the following and then dried: cow's milk, decoction of triphala, and juice of bringaraja. Second process. Shila Jatu is to be cut into pieces and washed off with water for the removal of dirt. It is then to be exposed to a smoke emitted by burnt aguru, nimba leaves, guduchi, adaki, java, and ghee. It is then to be immersed for 3 hours in hot water, or decoction of the shamila or triphala. It is next to be rubbed and filtered through a piece of cloth and kept in an earthen pot exposed to the sun. The dense and cream-like substance collected on the surface of the liquid will have to be taken out and kept in another pot. The process is to be repeated as many times as necessary until the whole of the pure Shila Jatu is taken out. The sediment is to be rubbed again with hot water and again exposed to the sun, the dense and cream-like substance being taken out in the foregoing manner. This cream-like substance, which is nothing but pure Shila Jatu, may thus be collected in 2 months. Shila Jatu, thus purified, may be used for medicinal purposes. If thrown upon fire after purification, it will emit no smoke and will have the appearance of penis. For the purpose of increasing the strength of the Shila Jatu, it may be subjected to bhavana with juices or decoction of drugs which can pacify the 3 doshas. Third process. Shila Jatu is first of all to be washed off with water and dried. It is then to be subjected to bhavana with decoctions or juices of vegetable drugs to be decided upon after consideration of the nature of the disease, the patient, his habits, and the food he is accustomed to. Such a decoction is prepared by boiling in an earthen pot the vegetable drug, equal in quantity to the Shila Jatu, meant to be purified, with 8 times its weight of water, to be reduced to 1/4 the quantity of this water. The Shila Jatu is now to be dissolved in the hot decoction, duly filtered by means of a piece of cloth, and dried. The process is to be performed for 7 times in respect of each kind of decoction. Such a Shila Jatu is to be administered to a patient who has already been soothed, duly purified by purgation, and has taken for 3 days clarified butter prepared with bitters. Such a patient is to take Shila Jatu with a decoction of triphala on the first day, with a juice of patola on the second day, and with a decoction of jasti madhu on the 3rd day, the order being repeated so long as it is considered necessary to let the patient take Shila Jatu. Taking of Shila Jatu in this way proves to be very useful. Fourth process. In order to free Shila Jatu from impurities due to foreign matters and contaminations caused by worms, flies, and poisonous drugs, it should be dissolved in. iron pots with a solution of juices of nimba, guduchi, mixed with clarified butter, and java in the manner described below. In the hot weather, when the sky is free from clouds and there is no wind, 4 pots made of black iron are to be placed in a level piece of land, heated by the sun's rays. Excellent shilajatu is to be kept in one of these pots, and dissolved with twice its weight of hot water and half its weight of the solution referred to above. This solution is to be duly filtered through a piece of cloth and exposed to the heat of the sun, which will cause a black cream-like thing rise on the surface of the solution. This cream-like substance is to be removed into another pot and mixed with some hot water. The heat of the sun will cause a cream-like substance rise at the surface of the liquid. This substance is to be removed into a third pot and mixed with hot water as before. The cream-like substance rising on the surface of the third pot will have to be removed into the fourth pot. The process is to be continued until the whole of the dirt separate from the pure substance and subside at the bottom. The pure cream-like substance, which is shilajatu proper, is to be taken out carefully to the exclusion of the water and sediment. Fifth process. In a hot weather, black iron shilajatu is to be dissolved with decoction of triphala, duly filtered and dried. The process is to be performed for 3 times. The same process is to be performed for 3 times each, with dashamula, guduchi, bala, patola, maduka, and cow's urine, respectively. The shilajatu is next to be saturated with milk for 1 time, and dried. It is next to be saturated for 7 times with a decoction of all of the following combined: kakoli, meda, mahamada, bidari, chirabidari, chatabari, draksha, ridi, rishaba, jatamansi, mundiri, white jira, black jira, saptaparni, prisniparni, rasna, puskara, mulam, chitraka root, danti, gaja, pipali, indra, java, javia, musta, katu, rohini, karkata, stringi, and patha. The shilajatu is next to be subjected to bhavana with a juice or decoction of each of the undermentioned drugs, called the shala saradi, shala, pita, shala, natakaranja, visha karanja, kadira, Sweta Chandanam, Rakta Chandanam, Gardapanda, Arjuna, White Lodra, Red Lodra, Dava, Asana, Shirisha, Aguru, and Kaliya. These drugs, taken together, are called the Shala Sarati. They can cure diseases due to an excessive phlegm, dermatitis, gulma, piles, leprosy, obesity, and jaundice. The Shila Jatu is to be subjected to bhavana at night and dried during daytime. The rule regarding the quantity of the drugs mentioned above is this: that the quantity of each of these drugs will be equal to that of the Shila Jatu, and that each of them is to be boiled in 8 times its weight of water, reducible to 1/8 or 1/4, according to a different practice. 6th process. Shila Jatu is purified if it is dissolved with a solution of kshara, amla, and cow's urine, and then filtered by means of a piece of cloth and dried. 7th process. Shila Jatu is purified if it is dissolved in an iron pot with milk, decoction of triphala, and decoction of bringaraja, respectively, and dried each time it is so dissolved. 8th process. Shila Jatu is purified if it is subjected to a hot vapor for 1 hour by means of a swadhana jantram containing kshara, amla, and gugulu. Test of purified Shila Jatu. Shila Jatu, properly purified, will burn without emitting any smoke. When sufficiently roasted, it will assume the appearance of penis. If thrown into water by means of the points of a grass, it will sink in the shape of thread. Use of purified Shila Jatu. Purified Shila Jatu, taken with milk and a suitable quantity of incinerated iron, has the effect of increasing vitality, curing and preventing senility, strengthening the system, and increasing memory and retentive faculties in one who takes a sufficient quantity of milk. Shila Jatu produces an appreciable effect. If it is taken for 1 week, it produces better result if it is taken for 3 weeks, and if taken for 7 weeks, it produces much better results. One who takes Shila Jatu for 6 weeks, observing all the regulations to be followed with regard to the use of medicines meant for the cure and prevention of senility, lives a happy and healthy life for 100 years. Dose of Shila Jatu: 1 tola a day is the ordinary dose, 2 tolas a day produces a better effect, and 4 tolas a day produces an excellent effect. While taking Shila Jatu, one should avoid foods which are fried, roasted, sour, fermented, and heavy. The man who takes Shila Jatu should abstain from taking, once for all, Sudata gram, inasmuch as the latter can corrode even stone, and has therefore a property which destroys the effect which Shila Jatu produces upon the human system. The man who takes Shila Jatu should avoid the following, not only during the period he takes it, but also during an equal period of time just preceding and following that period: physical exercise, exposure to the sun's rays, exposure to wind, things which trouble the mind, heavy food, food which gives rise to inflammation of the body, i.e., food which is sour, pungent, fried with or without oil, fermented, and food which is difficult to digest. He should drink rainwater, carefully collected during the rainy season, and water from big wells and fountains. He should avoid, once for all, Tulathagram, Kakamachi, and flesh of pigeons. Incineration of Shilajatu. Shilajatu is incinerated if it is mixed with Manashila, Gandaka, and Haritala, all rubbed together with the juice of Matulunga, and then subjected to putam with a fire made of 8 pieces of cow dung cake. Use of incinerated Shilajatu. Incinerated Shilajatu, in doses of 3 raktas, mixed with an equal quantity of Kanta iron, Vaikranta, Trifala, Trikatu, and Gritam, should be prescribed in jaundice, anemia, phthisis, loss of the power of digestion, spermaturia, piles, gulma, enlarged spleen, udara, roga, all sorts of colic, and diseases of the vagina. Essence of Shilajatu. Shilajatu discharges its essence if rubbed with the Sravana Varga and some vegetable acid and heated in a crucible by a strong fire made of coal, which is to be blown by means of bellows. The essence, thus extracted, has the appearance of iron. It should be incinerated and applied in medicines in the same way as iron. Karpura Shilajatu or Shilajatu having the odor and appearance of camphor. It is found in the shape of sands, is yellow-white in color, and is efficacious in stricture, gleat, stone disease, spermatoria, gonorrhea, jaundice, and anemia. It is purified if dissolved and boiled well with a decoction of ela. The sages have not considered it necessary to incinerate it and to extract an essence from it. Evil effects of taking impure Shilajatu. Shilajatu, not properly purified, gives rise to inflammation, hysteric fits, giddiness, hemorrhage, loss of appetite, and constipation. How to cure the diseases due to the use of impure Shilajatu. The diseases due to an improper use of Shilajatu may be cured by taking, for 7 days, maricham mixed with ghee. Sora, a kind of Shilajatu. Shilajatu is of 2 kinds, viz., the one which is procured from hills, and the other which is found deposited on the surface of a salty soil, due to the action of rainwater on the soil. The second kind of Shilajatu is a white chara. It improves the power of digestion and the complexion of the skin, and is efficacious in urinary diseases. Tatam. It is a compound of copper and sulfur prepared by those who know the process. It possesses to a certain extent the properties of copper and is moreover of the following description. It is pungent, alkaline, astringent, nauseating, light, destroyer of fat, purgative, cold, improver of eyesight, pacifier of phlegm and animal heat, and efficacious in poison. Stone disease, leprosy, itches, and worms. Purification of tatam. First process. Tatam is purified if it is rubbed with the juice of lime fruit and subjected to lagu putam, and then subjected to bhavana for 3 times with curd water. Second process. Tatam is purified if it is rubbed with the stools of cat and pigeon, and then subjected to lagu putam for 3 times, after having been rubbed with 1/10 its weight of tankanam, curd, and honey, respectively. Third process. Tatam is purified and deprived of its properties, of causing vomiting, giddiness, if it is subjected to putam for 3 times, after having been rubbed with an equal quantity of the stool of cat, 1/4 its quantity of tankanam, and a little of honey. Fourth process. Tatam is purified if it is rubbed with half its weight of sulfur, and then subjected to putam as many times as necessary for the removal of vomiting and giddiness. Fifth process. Tatam is purified if it is saturated with the almavarga and with oil or clarified butter, and then boiled for 1 day in the urines of horse and cow in a dolajantram. Extraction of essence from tatam. First process. Tatam discharges its essence if it is smelted with an equal quantity of borax. Second process. Tatam discharges its essence if heated in a blind crucible, after having been rubbed with 1/10 its weight of the following and made into a ball: gugulu, tankanam, lak, dwarji, sarjarasa, sendava, urna, gunja, small fish, bone of hare, oil cakes mixed with gunja, honey, clarified, butter, and goat's milk. This essence is no other than pure copper. Extraction of essence from tatam without the application of heat. Third process. Essence is extracted from tatam without any application of heat, if powdered tatam is kept immersed for 7 days in lime juice in an iron pot. How to extract copper from feathers. Peacock's feather is to be burnt with ghee and honey. The ashes, thus prepared, are to be mixed with oil cakes, gugulu, small fishes, tankanam, swarji, honey, gunja, lak growing on a swatha tree, and ghee. All these are to be mixed together and made into a lump which is to be heated in a blind crucible, resulting in the extraction of a kind of copper called nagatamram, the finger ring, which cures colic and neutralizes poison. Essence of tatam, nagatamram, and gold are to be taken in equal quantities and made into a ring, the touch of which removes colic pain instantaneously. It also overcomes all sorts of poison and evil influ. enses caused on human beings by the evil eyes of ghosts and witches. According to Baluki, the great chemist, water drunk 7 times, each time touched with this ring and sanctified with the chanting of the mantra given in the text, cures colic pain instantaneously. The oil, which is heated over fire, with this ring kept immersed in it, cures any sort of pain by merely being rubbed on the part of the body affected. It also affects the speedy and painless childbirth in a woman. It also cures eye diseases in a very short time. Sasyakam, or bluestone. It has the color of the neck of a peacock. The difference between totem and sasyakam lies in the fact that totem is prepared in the laboratory, whereas sasyakam is a mineral found in nature. In the absence of either of these two, the other may be used. Qualities of sasyaka. It is a remover of an abnormal excess of the 3 doshas. It is efficacious in poison, heart disease, colic, piles, leprosy, amlapittam, constipation, leukoderma, and toxin. It also cures and prevents renal decay. It causes vomiting and purgation. Purification of sasyakam. First process. Sasyakam is purified if subjected to bhavana for 7 times with the Rakta Varga and saturated very carefully with the Sneha Varga after each act of bhavana. Effect an immediate cure of colic by touch only. It has also the properties possessed by the finger ring referred to in page 109. Incineration of the essence of tutam, that of sasyakam. First process. Essence of tutam, or of sasyakam, is to be coated all over with a paste made of the juices of Pashana Bedi and Hilamochika, rubbed with sulfur, double in quantity of the essence itself. It is then to be confined in a crucible and subjected to heat by Gajaputam. It is again to be coated all over with a paste made of the same juices and sulfur, equal in quantity to the essence itself, and subjected to Gajaputam. Performance of the second process for 7 times will result in the incineration of the essence. Second process. 1 part of the essence, 2 parts of mercury, and 4 parts of sulfur are to be rubbed together with lime juice for 9 hours, then covered with Datura leaves and subjected to Gajaputam. The essence, when cooled of itself, is then to be reduced to powder. This is how it is killed. How to remedy the evil effect of impure tutaka and sasyaka. The evil effect followed by an improper use of tutaka and sasyaka can be counteracted by the taking of lime juice for 3 days. The same result is obtained by the drinking of water in which fried patty is kept immersed for some time. Chapala. Chapala is obtained in mines from which lead and tin are procured. It is of 4 different kinds, viz. Gold-colored, white, red, and black. The first 2 are especially suitable for solidification of mercury. The third and the fourth melt quickly like lac and are useless. Chapala is so called because it melts over fire as quickly as tin. Chapala has the appearance of quartz. It has 6 faces. It is soothing and heavy. Chapala is a curer of obesity. It is soothing and has the property of making the body as hard as steel. It is a helper of mercury. It is bitter, strong, and sweet in taste. It is a remover of an abnormal excess. Of the 3 doshas, is a great nutritive and has the property of solidifying mercury. This nectar-like substance may be used in gulma, mucus, colic, consumption, gonorrhea, fever, leukorrhea, and menorrhagia. Purification of chapala. Chapala is purified if subjected to bhavana with the juices of lime fruit, karkataka, and ginger. Extraction of essence from chapala. The ore of chapala is to be powdered, rubbed with kanji, poisons, and semi-poisons, and made into a lump from which essence is to be extracted. Chapala produced from lead and tin. 120 tolas of lead are to be rubbed with the milk of arka and subjected to heat by putam until the quantity of the lead is reduced to 1 tola only. It will no longer undergo any diminution in quantity, even if it be subjected to putam for 1,000 times. This substance is called chapala produced from lead. Such chapala may also be produced from tin in a similar manner. Mercury is at once solidified if grasped within the palm of a hand previously smeared with a chapala produced from lead or tin. Mercury, so solidified, is commendable for alchemical purposes, but not for medical purposes. Rasaka or harparo. Rasaka is of 2 kinds, viz. Durdara and Carabella. The variety which has got layers is called the Durdara, and the one which has got no layers is called the Carabella. The first variety is to be preferred for the purpose of extraction of essence, whereas the second one is more suitable for purpose of being used in medicine. Rasaka resembles in appearance 3 different things, viz. Mud, stone, and molasses. The first is yellow in color and is full of layers. Both the second and the third are thick and without layers. In quality, the second is inferior to the first, and the third is inferior to the second. Rasaka cures all sorts of venereal diseases and eye diseases. It pacifies an abnormal excess of the 3 dosalas and is a dyer of iron and mercury. The art of transforming the body into steel becomes a handmaid, as it were, to the person who can make mercury and Rasaka stand fire. Inability of Rasaka to stand fire. Rasaka cannot stand fire. It is so combustible that it burns on a slight heat being applied to it. There are few things in this world which can make Rasaka stand fire. How Rasaka may be made to stand fire. First process. Rasaka can be made to stand fire if it is rubbed with the essence of earth, worm, or with the liquid expressed from it. Second process. Karpara is to be broken into pieces like gram and kept inside a blade of kanya split up into two, immersed in ass's urine, and boiled until the urine evaporates altogether. This process is to be continued for 3 days, after which the blade is to be replaced by a new one, which is also to be boiled in the same way for 3 days. This process is to be performed thrice. This is how karpara is enabled to stand fire without much difficulty. If the karpara still emits smoke when placed on fire, it is again to be boiled in the aforesaid way as long as necessary. The karpara is next to boiled in a solution of ksherry, salt, for 2 days, which will result in its incineration. It is again to be put to the test of being placed on fire. If it still emits smoke, it is again to be boiled in the foregoing manner, then subjected to pavana for 7 times with the liquid expressed from earthworms, and heated by putam after each act of pavana. Purification of karpara. First process. Rasaka assumes a yellow appearance and is purified if it is saturated with the juice of bitter alabu and then heated. Second process. Karpara is purified if it is heated for 7 times and is immersed in the juice of bijapura after each act of heating. Third process. Karpara is purified if it is heated and immersed in man's urine or horse's urine or whey or kanji. Fourth process. Rasaka is purified if it is boiled in man's urine or cow's urine for a week by means of a dola jantra. Fifth process. Rasaka is purified if it is rubbed with the juices of red and yellow flowers and then subjected to bhavana with cow's urine or man's urine or aranala or sabir amla, each mixed with rock salt. First process. Karpara is reduced to fine ashes if rubbed with mercury and subjected to heat for 8 hours by means of a baluka jantram. Second process. Karpara is incinerated if it is placed over fire in an iron pot, and when smelted, mixed with sandava salt being put upon it little by little, and turned constantly by means of a rod made of palashta wood. Third process. Karpara is incinerated, and as such, cures all sorts of diseases, if subjected to heat by means of a lavana jantram. Extraction of essence from rasaka. First process. Karpara is to be rubbed with 1/4 its quantity of haridra, triphala, rala, sindava, duma, kankanam, palataka, and a sufficient quantity of the amla, and made into a paste with which is to be painted the inner surface of a crucible called brintakamusha. When dried, the crucible is to be covered with a lid placed lightly on the mouth. The crucible is to be heated until the rasaka gets smelted and emits, through a hole in the crucible, a smoke of blue-white color. The inner crucible is then to be taken out and turned upside down on the ground, so carefully as not to let it break. All the essence, which has the appearance of tin, will thus be obtained by heating the crucible for 2 or 3 times. The essence, thus, obtained is no other than jastoda, but the drug, used in the extraction of the essence, imparts to it a quality which makes it much superior to ordinary zinc in point of medicinal property. Second process. Rasaka discharges its essence if rubbed with haritaki, laksha, earthworm, haridra, soot, and tankanam, and heated by means of a mukamusha. Mukamusha and andamusha refer to the same kind of crucible, a crucible not provided with any passage for the entrance of air into it. Third process. Rasaka is to be rubbed with the powders of laksha, gur, white mustard, rala, and tankanam, roasted with cow's milk and ghee, and made into a ball. It is then to be confined in a brintakamusha and subjected to heat in the manner explained in the first process. Essence from the ball may also be extracted in the following manner. Place an earthen vessel full of water inside a pit cut into the ground and put an earthen basin full of holes upon the mouth of the vessel. The crucible containing the ball referred to above is now to be placed upside down upon the earthen basin and charcoal fire to be placed all round the crucible. This will result in the essence of rasaka falling into the water in the vessel. This refers to what is called patala jantram, see page 280. Vol I, a correct description of which is given here, patala jantram. In a pit in the ground, 1 cubit deep, place a vessel. Another vessel containing prescribed materials and having its mouth tightly. Incineration of the essence of rasaka. Essence of rasaka with haritala is to be placed over fire upon an earthen pot or an iron cauldron, with an equal quantity of purified haritalam being put upon it little by little, and turned all the while by means of an iron rod, until the whole thing is reduced to ashes. This powder is to be mixed with an equal quantity of incinerated kanta iron, and is to be applied in doses, covered with a basin full of holes, is to be placed upside down upon the mouth of the first vessel. The joints are to be closed, and the pit covered with mud. The apparatus is then to be heated by means of charcoal fire being placed all around the upper vessel. When cooled of itself, the essence, oil, or tincture, as the case may be, is to be taken out from inside the lower vessel. Of 8 raktis a day, with the accompaniment of the decoction of triphala, kept overnight in a kanta iron pot, with 3 or 4 drops of oil extracted from tila, put upon it. It speedily cures the following diseases: spermatoria, pitum, consumption, anemia, dropsy, gulma, rakta, gulma of women, leukorrhea, menorrhagia, diabetes, all sorts of vaginal diseases, malaria, kala-azar, pain at the time of menstruation, bronchitis, asthma, and hiccough, dying of mercury, etc. by rasaka. Rasaka, kept immersed in man's urine for 1 month, acquires the property of investing pure copper, mercury, and silver with the color of pure gold. Chapter 2, Gandhaka, variety of sulfur. Gandhaka is of 4 different kinds, according to its color. The white variety has the appearance of kati or chalk. It is capable of incinerating a metal by besmearing the latter with white sulfur rub, with a vegetable acid, and then heating it by a putum. The yellow variety is called the amalastara. It has the color of the beak of a stuka. It is best suited to the requirements of mercury and of medicines prepared with a view to cure physical decay and senility. The red variety is best suited to the requirements of alchemy. The black variety is very rare. It is capable of overcoming senility and death. Properties of sulfur. Sulfur arrests and cures physical decay. And senility, it is sweet in taste, but turns pungent and hot when digested in the stomach. It cures itches, leprosy, erysipelas, and ringworm. It increases appetite and helps digestion of food. It destroys mucus and eliminates it from the system. It does away with poison and imparts potency to mercury. It destroys worms and is a greater tonic than even gold. Sulfur is to be purified. Sulfur contains 2 foreign matters, viz., particles of stone and poison. It is therefore to be purified very carefully. Impure sulfur gives rise to leprosy, inflammation, giddiness, diseases due to an excess of pitum, and loss of beauty, happiness, strength, and semen. Purification of Gandhaka. First process. Gandhaka is to be smelted with cow's ghee and immediately filtered through a piece of cloth into a pot, filled with milk, with which it is to be boiled for 24 minutes, and then washed with water. Gandhaka is thus purified and turns into lump, leaving the particles of stone on the piece of cloth, the poison in the shape of husk being mixed with the ghee, which separates itself from the sulfur. One who takes Gandhaka, thus purified, need not be afraid of any reactionary after effect, even though one takes unwholesome food at the time of taking the sulfur. Gandhaka, not properly purified, proves as harmful as a strong poison, especially if a bad diet is taken. Second process. Gandhaka is to be smelted and thrown through a piece of cloth into the juice of Bringaraja. It is then to be powdered and boiled with the same juice for some time. It is next to be smelted again and thrown into the juice of Bringaraja. Gandhaka, thus purified, may be used for all purposes. Third process. Gandhaka, tankanam, etc. are first of all to be washed with lime juice, which removes the dirt attached to their surfaces. Cover the mouth of an earthen vessel by means of a piece of cloth tightly bound, and put sulfur upon this cloth, covering it with an earthen basin, the joint being closed with mud, etc. The vessel is then to be kept inside a pit made in the ground in such a way as to keep the brim of the vessel on the level of the surface of the earth, the hollow round the vessel being filled in with loose earth. A fire with 16 pieces of cow dung cake is now to be made all round the earthen basin. Sulfur, smelted by the fire and making its way through the cloth, will fall into the milk mixed with clarified butter contained in the vessel and will thus be purified. Fourth process. Gandhaka, with 1/4 its quantity of tankanam, is to be rubbed with the juice of matulungu, then powdered very carefully and subjected to bhavana with castor oil in the intense heat of the sun. Thus purified, Gandhaka becomes fit for use in every way. How to take Gandhaka? Gandhaka, purified in the way described above, taken every morning in doses of 1/4 of a tola a day, with triphala, ghee, juice of Bringaraja, and honey gives the man who takes it a long life, being free from diseases, and an eyesight as clear and strong as that of a vulture. Sulfur, duly purified and smelted in an iron pot, smeared with ghee, and taken out of the pot by means of an iron ladle smeared with ghee, may be taken for the cure of phthisis and other diseases, and especially of leprosy. Gandhaka cures skin diseases, if taken with ripe banana fruit. It cures loss of strength, if taken with powdered chitraka root. It also cures loss of appetite, if taken with a decoction of triphala. All sorts of diseases pertaining to the upper part of the body are cured very soon by Gandhaka, well prepared and taken regularly. Purified sulfur increases strength and semen, if taken for a month in doses of 1/4 of a tola per day with milk. taken for 6 months at a stretch, it cures all sorts of diseases and increases longevity and eyesight. Sulfur, 5 palams in quantity, is to be powdered, saturated with 3 times its weight of the juice of Bringaraja, and dried in shade. To this is to be added haritaki, honey, and ghee, 1 palam each. The total quantity thus prepared is to be taken in the course of 2 months. This procedure may result in an old man being restored to youth. A man is freed in 3 weeks from carbuncle, piles, etc. if he takes sulfur well prepared in doses of 1/4 of a tola, rubbed with a little of tila oil, and if he takes bath regularly every day in tepid water. One who is habituated to take sulfur in the above way is freed from all physical ailments and diseases. One who takes powdered gandhaka with an equal quantity of pipali and haritaki becomes strong and healthy, with a very clear and keen eyesight. The rasayana gandhaka. Purified sulfur is to be subjected to bhavana with cow's milk, and the decoction or juice of each, of the following separately: tatojata, uduchi, haritaki, bibitaki, amalaki, trikathu, bringaraja, and ginger. When this is done, the product is to be mixed with an equal quantity of sugar. The medicine thus prepared is called the rasayana gandhaka. If taken in doses of 1 tola a day, it prevents waste of the dhatus, cures all sorts of spermatorrhea and gonorrhea, loss of appetite, colic, diseases pertaining to the stomach, and the 18 different kinds of leprosy. It increases semen, strength, and power of speech. All sorts of leprosy are cured if gandhaka is taken with an equal quantity of marasha and 6 times its weight of triphala, all rubbed with the juice of the root of aragbada, and if at the same time gandhaka, rubbed with the very same juice, is applied externally. Sulfur oil, one of its extremi gandhaka, purified and very finely powdered, with 1/4 its quantity of trikathu, is to be strewn over a piece of cloth, 1 aratni in length and in breadth. This cloth is then to be rolled up in the form of a candle entwined with cotton thread and immersed in oil for 3 hours. The candle is then to be caught hold of by means of a forestep and ties to be set fire to over a glass pot, fall smelted sulfur, drop by drop. This sulfur oil thrown on a pan leaf is to be rubbed by means of the tip of a finger with mercury, 3 ractus in weight. The pan leaf with the sulfur oil and mercury is then to be swallowed. Taken regularly, this medicine cures, in a short time, cough, asthma, colic, chronic diarrhea, and mucus. It makes the system very light, on which is to 3 drops of. Rubbed with butter, this candle is to be. A piece of cloth is to be soaked for 7 times. With the milk of arka and snuhi, the cloth is next. To be soaked with gandhaka, made into a candle and dried, held tight by means of a forestep over a pot, the lower extremity being set fire to in such a way as to let the smelted sulfur fall, drop by drop, into the pot. This liquid of sulfur may be used for all purposes. Powdered gandhaka is to be mixed with milk. When it is boiled, this milk is to be converted into curd. Clarified butter prepared out of this curd is called sulfur oil. It cures cancer leprosy by internal as well as external application. Dietary. One who takes purified gandhaka should avoid the following: kashara, amla, oil, fermented liquids, fried and roasted foodstuff, and pulses of all kinds. One who takes gandhaka should avoid the following: salt, sour things, leaves of vegetables, pulses, intercourse with women, and travels, especially on horseback and in carriages. Removal of odor from sulfur. Powdered sulfur is to be boiled with milk until it is condensed. It is then to be boiled with the juice of surya arda, and then again with the decoction of triphala. Thus treated, gandhaka is deprived of its odor. Second process. Gandhaka is to be subjected to bhavana for 3 times with a solution of 1/4 quantity of tankanam dissolved with water, and the juice of any one or more of the following: devadali, amlaparni, shunti, darima, and matulunga. The gandhaka is again to be subjected to bhavana for 3 times in an iron pot with a liquid prepared by rubbing together the under-mentioned articles with the juice of matulunga, and then dissolving the paste-like thing with castor oil, datura, black talashi, rasona, devadali, root of shigru, takamashi, karpura, 2 kinds of shankini, black guru, kasturi, bandia karkoti, all of equal quantity. This will render the sulfur devoid of odor and as soft as honey. Transformation of base metals by gandhaka. Yellow sulfur and mercury rubbed with the juice of red chitraka and milk of badri lead to the transformation of tin into silver. Copper is to be incinerated with gandhaka and mixed with an equal quantity of hingula. This is then to be rubbed with the juice of matulunga. Lead, when rubbed with this, will be reduced to ashes as red vermilion by being subjected to putam for 3 times only. Removal of the evil consequences of taking impure. Sulfur. This can be done by taking milk with cow's ghee, gairikam. Gairikam is of 2 kinds, viz. Pashana gairikam and swarna gairikam. The former is hard and copper-colored. The latter is very red, soft, smooth, sweet, and astringent taste, having a cooling effect, and improves eyesight. It is efficacious in rakta, pitam, hiccough, vomiting, poison, fever, and an excess of pitam. Pashana Gairikam is inferior to Swarna Gairikam. Purification of Gairikam. Gairika is purified if it is subjected to bhavana with cow's milk or if it is roasted with a little ghee for some time. Extraction of essence from Gairikam. Gairikam, according to Nandi, is in itself an essence. According to others, essence can be extracted from Gairikam, commingled with ksharas and amla. This essence gains in efficacy if combined with mercury. Uses of Gairikam, pansu salt, shunti, vacha, katphalam, and kanji, all rubbed together and made into an ointment, cure swelling of the parts around the ears and typhoid and other fevers caused by an excess of the 3 doshas. In fevers due to an excess of pitam, Gairikam may be used with honey, either alone or with mercury and sulfur. It cures rakta pitam if taken with decoction of dhanya, ushira, and sandal, or with ela and sugar. Sandava, Saru Haridra, Haritaki, Gairikam, and Rasanjanam, all rubbed together and made into a paste to cure all sorts of eye diseases if applied to the eyelids and the surrounding region. Red sandal, laksha. Buds of malati flower, made into a paste and applied all round the eyes. Cure of Ranashukram of a recent growth. Gairikam, in doses of 1/4 of a tola, taken internally 4 times a day with kanji, cures shitapitam. Gairikam with turmeric, rubbed together and made into a paste, cures shitapitam and udarda by external application. Gairikam, in doses of 1/4 of a tola, may be taken with water for the cure of diseases due to an excess of pitam. It cures visarpa due to an excess of pitam by being rubbed with ghee and applied externally to the parts affected. It cures burns by external application with coconut oil or ghee. Gairikam, kernel of the stone of a mango fruit, badanga, haridra, rasanjanam, and katphalam, all rubbed with water and applied externally, cures itches in the vagina. Kasisam. Kasisam is of 4 different kinds, viz. White. The white is also called variety, is known by the yellow, green, and black. Poluka kasisa, the yellow names of Puspa kasisa and Padma kasisa. The black variety is called Datu kasisa and Mukta kasisa. The green variety can easily be prepared and is found in abundance. Kasisa is a product of iron and sulfur. It is a kshara, sour in taste, and is of various colors. It cures poison, eye diseases, and leukoderma, and is a dyer of hair. It also cures an excess of pitam and hysteria. Of all the different varieties, the Puspa kasisam is the best. It is astringent and sour in taste, and is efficacious in eye disease. It also cures poison, an excess of vayu and phlegm, boils, leukoderma, and consumption. It is a good dyer of hair. Purification of kasisam. Kasisam is purified if it is boiled only once with the juice of bringaraja. It may also be purified by being subjected to bhavana with the biles of animals and with the menstrual discharge of women. It may also be purified with lime juice. An essence may be extracted from kasisam exactly in the same way as from tubari. How to take kasisam. Kasisam, incinerated with sulfur, an equal quantity of kanta iron filled with kasisam, taken with triphala, vidanga, and an unequal quantity of honey and ghee cures very quickly the following diseases: leukoderma, jaundice, pistis, gulma, spleen, colic, and especially piles. If the medicine mentioned above is taken for 1 year, in accordance with the rules prescribed for taking rasayanas, it destroys mucus, loss of appetite, and signs of premature old age, such as grayness of hair and falling off the teeth. Kangshi. Kangshi or tubari is a clay found in Surat. It can dye clothes with the color of manjista. Kangshi is of 2 different kinds, viz. Pitika and fulika. The former is a little yellow, heavy, and soft. It cures poison, boils in particular, and all sorts of leprosy in general. The second kind of tubari is called pula tubari. It is light, white-colored, soft, taste. If applied as a paint to the surface of a copper plate, the color of the plate changes into that of iron. It is popularly known by the name of gopichandan and sour in. Properties of Kangshi. Kangshi is astringent, pungent, sour, purifier of throat, salutary to hair, curer of boils, poison, and leukoderma. It improves eyesight, pacifies the 3 doshas, and helps the exhaustion of mercury. Purification and extraction of essence from tubari. Tubari is purified if kept immersed for 3 days in kanji. It emits an essence if rubbed with ksharas and amlas, and then heated. Essence is also obtained if it is subjected to bhavana with cow's biles and then heated. The process as to how this essence is made to transform metals is a secret one. The essence of tubari is called spatika, which is purified by being melted over fire. Properties of spatika. Alum cures boils, patches the lung, metallic. It helps the exhaustion of mercury. In appearance, it resembles white rock salt. 155. Haritalam. Haritalam is a compound of sulfur and arsenic and is of four kinds, viz. Patraharitalam, or Vancha Patraharitalam, Pinda Haritalam, Godanta Haritalam, and Vakadala Haritalam. The last two are very rare. Patraharitalam. Patraharitalam is gold-colored, heavy, soothing and soft, full of thin layers, and glazy. It consists of several layers and is competent to cure and prevent, when properly prepared, physical decay and senility. Pinda Haritalam. Pinda Haritalam has no layers, is found in lumps, has very little essence or substance, is heavy, and can stop the discharge of menses. It is inferior in quality to the other varieties. Godanta Haritalam. It is found in long bars, is very soft, has the appearance of cow's teeth, is heavy and yellow with blue streaks at the center. Vakadala Haritalam. It is very soft and is generally known by the name of cold Haritalam. It has layers, is heavy, and can cure leukoderma and leprosy, properties purified Haritalam. Haritalam, properly purified, cures phlegm, vataraktam, potion, excess of air, and fear from ghosts. It stops menstrual discharge, is soothing, pungent, and produces a warm effect on the system. It increases appetite and cures leprosy. Haritalam fit for incineration. For the purpose of incineration, Patra Haritalam is the best suited, whereas Pinda Haritalam is to be avoided. Godanta Haritalam may be incinerated for use in cancer leprosy. The Vakadala Haritalam is the best for incineration with a view to being used in leukoderma. Evils of using Haritalam not properly purified. Haritalam, not properly purified, shortens life and gives rise to an abnormal excess of phlegm, air, fermentoria, gonorrhea, inflammation, boils, and contraction of the limb. It should therefore be purified very carefully. The Haritalam, which is not purified and which is not properly incinerated, gives rise to the following ailments if taken internally: loss of beauty, inflammation, spasm, excess of phlegm and air, and leprosy. Purification of Haritalam. First, second, and third processes. Haritalam is purified if boiled in adola jantram with juice of kushmanda, or with a solution of the ashes of tila plant, or with water dissolved with lime. Fourth process. Haritalam, broken into pieces and combined with 1/10 its weight of tankanam, is to be dissolved with lime juice and then with kanji. It is then to be combined in a piece of cloth made fourfold and boiled by dola yantram 1 day. It is next to be boiled similarly for 1 day with aranala dissolved with lime, and then again boiled similarly for 1 day with juice of kushmanda or with the juice of shamali bark. Fifth process. Clean patra haritalam is to be broken into pieces wrapped up in a piece of cloth and boiled for 6 hours in the juice of lime fruit by means of adola jantram. When cooled of itself, bundle is to be again boiled in the same way in each of the following urine of she buffalo, juice of kanya, solution of lime, mixed with juice of musta, juice of sharapunka, juice of ripe lime mixed with water, and juice of sugarcane boiled steadily by charcoal. Thus boiled, haritalam becomes purified. Sixth process. Haritalam is to be rubbed with the urine of buffalo and subjected to bhavana for 3 times with the juice of the root of the Brahma tree, made as dense as honey. It is then to be confined in a crucible and heated for 12 times by means of fire made of 10 pieces of cow dung cake each time. Haritalam, thus purified, may be used for all purposes. Seventh process. Vansha patra haritalam is purified if subjected to bhavana for 7 times with lime water. Eighth process. Haritalam is purified if it is boiled by dola jantram for 3 hours each, with kanji mixed with lime, juice of kushmanda, tila oil, and decoction of triphala. Ninth process. Vansa patram haritalam is to be dissolved for 3 or 7 times with kushmanda juice or sour curd. When dried, this will have to be broken into such small particles as rice. This is then to be confined inside a malamusha, the joint being closed with a paste made of plum leaves. The sampitam is then to be heated until the lower basin gets red hot. The contents are to be taken out when the whole thing gets cooled of itself. 2 gunjas of it is to be taken with ghee and honey every day. It cures all sorts of leprosy, fistula, ulcer, carbuncle, syphilis, eczema, and ulcers in nostrils and throat. Incineration of haritalam. First process. Purified haritalam is to be broken into pieces, rubbed with lime water, juice of apamarga, solution of ksharas, and then to be kept in an earthen vessel with powdered ksharas of barley husk, put below and upon it. This is to be covered with an earthen basin. The remaining portion of the vessel is to be filled with the kernel of a kushmanda fruit. The mouth of the vessel is then to be closed. It is next to be subjected to heat, which is to be increased gradually at a uniform rate for 12 hours. Haritalam, thus incinerated, may be used in leprosy and other diseases. Second process. Purified Vansapatra Haritalam is to be rubbed in a mortar for 1 day with the juice of Punarnava and made into a lump and dried. Half the portion of an earthen vessel is then to be filled with the kshara of Punarnava, upon which is to be kept the lump of Haritalam. The portion up to the neck of the vessel is then to be filled with the kshara of Punarnava, and the mouth of the vessel to be closed by means of an earthen basin, the joint being tightly closed in the usual way. The vessel is then to be placed over fire and heated continuously for 5 days, the fire being gradually increased at a uniform rate. The Haritalam will thus be incinerated. This is to be used in doses of 1 gunja a day with suitable anupanam. Third process. Purified Haritalam is to be subjected to bhavana for 36 hours with each of the following juice of Janjeri, juice of nimbu, and lime dissolved with water. This is next to be dissolved in water, with double its quantity of kshara obtained by reducing the stones of shalmali fruits to ashes. The solution is then to be dried, put inside a kavachi jantram, and heated by means of a baluka jantram for 36 hours. When the apparatus gets cooled of itself, the product is to be taken out, powdered, and used in doses of 1 rakti a day for the purpose of curing leprosy and elephantiasis. Fourth process. 40 tolas of purified gold leaves with an equal quantity of purified haritalam is to be rubbed with 1 prasta of the juice of each of the following, taken in order of their occurrence until the whole thing turns into a lump. Tanya, Nimbu, Sharapanka, Badri, and Arka. The lump is then to be dried in the sun for 7 days. In an earthen vessel are to be kept ashes of palasha, upon which is to be kept the lump, which is to be covered with the same ashes. The mouth of the vessel is now to be covered with an earthen basin by means of mud, rag, etc. The vessel is then to be heated for 360 hours by means of fire increasing gradually at a uniform rate. When cooled, the white ashes of haritalam are to be collected and used in doses of half to 1 tandalam a day. Fifth process. Haritalam is to be powdered very fine and rubbed for 2 days with the juice of Dugdika, Sahadevi, and Bala and made into a lump, which is to be dried in the shade and confined in a samputam or in a glass bottle with the ashes of palasha placed on all sides of the lump and then heated by a gradually increasing and strong fire by means of a baluka jantram or a handika jantram. Sixth process. 1 palam of purified haritalam is to be rubbed with the juice of kanya, dried, kept within a samputam, and heated for 36 hours. Haritalam, thus incinerated, can cure leprosy. Seventh process. Purified vakadala haritalam is to be rubbed in a mortar for 7 days with the juice of kanya, duly dried, and then entered into a glass bottle with its mouth kept open. It is then to be heated by means of a baluka jantram over a strong fire. After some time, smoke of a bluish-yellow color will come out of the glass bottle. An iron probe is then to be inserted into the glass bottle with a view to turn frequently the haritalam by means of it. This probe is to be taken out every now and then and examined. When the probe will be found to contain a few drops of water, bluish-yellow in color, it is to be taken for granted that the apparatus is to be heated for 1 or 2 days more. When the water attached to the probe will be found to be white in color, the heating is to be stopped and the apparatus to be allowed to cool of itself. Eighth process. Fine powder of haritalam is to be subjected to bhavana for 20 days with the juice of asvatha, rubbed in a clean mortar and made into a ball, which is to be kept inside a vessel, 1/2 of which is the remaining again with thee, filled with the ashes of asvatha bark. Portion of this vessel is to be filled with same ashes, and the mouth of the vessel is to be closed by means of a basin, as usual. The whole thing is now to be heated for 12 hours in gajaputam by means of fire made of 1,000 cow dung cake. Haritalam will thus be incinerated. If it is so, it will assume a white color and emit no smoke when heated by an iron rod. Ninth process. Pure haritalam is to be reduced to powder, subjected to bhavana for 3 times with each of the following: kanya, kushmanda, and curd, and then made into a ball which is to be kept inside an earthen vessel, previously filled with ashes, 6 angulas deep. This vessel is then to be placed upon an iron pot and covered on all sides with ashes. It is also to be filled with ashes up to its neck, covered closely by means of an earthen basin placed at the mouth, and then heated for 96 hours continuously by means of fire gradually rising at a uniform rate in the intensity of its heat. This will result in the reduction of the haritalam to ashes having the appearance of lime. This haritalam cures vata ractum fever if taken with sugar in. Doses of 1 grain of rice a day. 10th process. 1 part of pure haritalam is to be put inside an earthen vessel, partly filled with ashes. Upon the haritalam is to be put double its quantity of condensed smoke. The mouth of the vessel is to be closed tightly by means of an earthen vessel. The apparatus is then to be heated for 12 hours by means of fire, rising gradually in the intensity of its heat at a uniform rate. This will result in the incineration of haritalam, which will assume a white appearance and will emit no more smoke, even if subjected to further heat. 11th process. Haritalam is to be washed with lime juice and mixed with 1/10 its weight of tankanum. It is then to be confined in a piece of cloth having 4 folds and made into a bundle, which is to be boiled by means of a dola jantram, with a slow heat such as is produced by the burning of an earthen lamp lighted with vegetable oil for 6 hours with each of the following: lime water, kanji, kushmanda juice, lemon oil, and triphala. It is then to be washed with sour vegetable juice, rubbed with the bark of the root of palasha tree, and dried. It is next to be rubbed with the urine of she buffalo and dried. Next, it is to be put into a samputam made of 2 basins and heated by means of gajaputam. The contents of the samputam being taken out when the fire will be extinguished completely and the samputam cooled of itself. The haritalam is then to be rubbed with goat's milk, made into a ball, and dried. It is next to be put into a vessel, covered on all sides with powdered lime, the remaining portion of the vessel being filled with the ashes of palasha. The mouth of the vessel is to be closed in such a way as not to let out any smoke. The vessel is then to be subjected to heat, gradually increasing, for 96 hours continuously, with the result that the haritalam will be found, when taken out after, the apparatus gets cooled, to be as white as moon and will emit no smoke if subjected to further heat. How to use the harital basma described above. 1 rakti in weight of the incinerated haritalam described above is to be taken with old molasses for the cure of all sorts of leprosy, skin diseases, carbuncles, fistula, etc. At the time of taking this haritalam, the patient should take bread prepared from chanaka grams and shasti rice without the addition of any salt. 12th process. 1 karsha of purified haritalam with an equal quantity of incinerated iron and a little of incinerated gold and silver are to be mixed together and put into a glass bottle, properly coated with mud and rag for 7 times. This bottle is to be put into a baluka jantram and heated for 12 hours. The medicine is to be taken out when cooled of itself. 13th process. Purified haritalam is to be rubbed separately with each of the following and made into a lump of juices of kushmanda, nimbu, gojifa, kulata, shikani, ardraka, datura, paringaraja, dugdika, sahadevi, palasha, aranda roots, paramadandi, Varanabali, Rasona, Palandu, Gopala Karkati, Takamachi, milk of Bajri, and Arka. The lump is then to be put inside a vessel filled with the ashes of Aswatha and heated as usual for 96 hours. The haritalam, thus incinerated, cures quickly all sorts of diseases, and especially leprosy, scrofula, hysteria, and urinary diseases, if the patient lives twice a day on a good diet, prepared without salt, pungent, and strong ingredients. 14th process. Purified haritalam is to be rubbed for 7 days with the juice of dronapuspi and put into a vidyadhara jantram, which is to be heated for 24 hours. The contents being taken out when the apparatus gets cooled by radiation. The substance attached to the upper pot is then to be collected, rubbed for 3 days with the same juice, and again heated in the aforesaid way for 24 hours continuously. The process is to be repeated over and over again until the essence of the haritalam becomes stable, which generally takes place after 7 days. On the 8th day, the haritalam is to be rubbed for 1 day with the milk of arka and heated for 24 hours. This process is to be performed for 3 times. The product, thus prepared, cures cancer, leprosy, and swelling of the body due to vataractum and syphilis. The dose in leprosy is 2 raktis a day, whereas in syphilis only 1 rakti is to be taken with honey and powdered tapchini of a tola in weight. 15th process. Purified haritalam is to be kept inside the hollow of a big human bone, the ends being closed by means of the ashes of aswatha, palasha, or punarnava. The bone is to be plastered all over for several times with mud, etc., and dried each time. It is next to be heated by means of a strong fire, causing the incineration of the haritalam. The product becomes more efficacious if the haritalam, prior to its being incinerated, were rubbed with the juices of suitable herbs. The haritalam, thus incinerated, cures all sorts of diseases. It leads the chemist to the attainment of his wished-for object, i.e., fame in the practice of medicine, liquefaction of haritalam. The belly of a big fish is to be cut out very carefully, cleansed of the entrails, and made into a sort of a bag which is to be filled with purified haritalam of a superior quality, the borders of the bag being sewed carefully by means of thread. The whole thing is then to be kept into an earthen vessel, covered in such a way as to let some air enter into it. The vessel is to be kept securely atop of a big tree growing in a locality far away from human habitation, so that the stench coming out of the fish in a state of putrefaction may not prove a nuisance to anyone. Innumerable insects grow upon the putrefied fish. The stronger among these insects devour the weaker ones until a few very big ones survive. These big ones are very beautiful and have the color of gold. These are to be taken out and kept suspended by means of a thread inside a glass bottle closed by a light cork. This bottle is to be sunk up to its neck into rice, boiled with milk and still very hot, until the insects melt and collect into a gold-colored liquid. This liquid may be used in all sorts of diseases and serves as a very important factor in the secret process of transformation of base metals into gold. Test of incinerated haritalam. Haritalam is considered to be properly incinerated if it does not emit any smoke when put upon fire. Otherwise, it is to be considered unincinerated. Merits of incinerated haritalam. Incinerated haritalam cures 80 different kinds of diseases due to an abnormal excess of vayu if taken in doses of half a gunja, mixed with 6 balas in weight of panda. Haritalam may be used in asthma, bronchitis physis, leprosy pittam, vata rakta, ringworm, itches, carbuncle, and diseases due to an excess of vayu. Accompaniment of haritalam. Incinerated haritalam is to be used with the juice of amra haridra in impurity of the blood, with purified aconite and jira in hysteria, with samudraphalam in dropsy, with the juice of devadali in bagandhara and priyanga diseases, with the decoction of manjista, etc., in 18 different kinds, of leprosy with triphala and sugar in jaundice, with powdered shunti in rheumatism, with incinerated gold in raktapitam, with the juice of tenduliam in 8 different kinds of fever. Such accompaniments may be devised by the physician himself in accordance with the particular requirements of the case. Extraction of essence from haritalam. T. First process. Haritalam is to be rubbed with the decoction of kulata, tankanam, she buffalo's ghee, and honey, and put into a vessel, covered well with a basin containing a few holes. The vessel is to be heated by fire. This essence is no other than a substance containing much of arsenic. 84. Increasy. Stop 3 ho. On a pea heating cooled, the vessel is to be broken open, and the essence of haritalam collected carefully. Second process. 1 palm of haritalam is to be rubbed for 1 day with the milk of arka and mixed with 16 times its weight of oil. It is then to be heated in an open space for 21 hours.
When cool of itself, the essence deposited at the bottom should be taken out. Tati kharaprakachidar tamarat huwa kapakum. Praveshe jwal de gandevadish proharvat hi kapakanar tastite shanta shuddha satatva samaharte.
Third process. Haritalam is to be rubbed for 2 days with the fur of a goat's tail, sulfur, and dirvana varga, and then put into a glass bottle, which is to be coated all over with mud and rag for 3 times, and dried in the sun. The lower half of this bottle is then to be put inside an earthen vessel, which is to be heated for 36 hours. When cooled, the pure essence of haritalam deposited at the neck of the glass bottle is to be collected carefully. Fourth process. 2 tolas of haritalam are to be lightly confined within a white piece of strong cloth and made into a bundle, which is to be coated all over with sulfur for 3 times, and dried each time. This bundle is to be thrown into 12 tolas of melted copper, and the whole thing is to be covered quickly with ashes. When cooled, soft white essence of haritalam adhering to the surface of the copper will have to be collected carefully. This is the essence which is required in mercurial operations of medicine. Fifth process. If haritalam is incinerated by means of a tirjak, patana jantra, a kind of white essence is obtained. This is to be used in doses of 1 sarshapa a day. It cures obstinate fevers and gives rise to beauty, nutrition, and strength. Sixth process. Haritalam mixed with half its quantity of laksha, raji, tila, shigru, tankanam, labanam, and molasses, all combined, is to be put into a crucible provided with a hole at the bottom and heated by Rifratskara I-200, Patala Jantram, leading to the extraction of the 7th process. Haritalam is to be powdered and subjected to pavana with goat's milk for 3 times. It is then to be rubbed with the root of patha, made into a lump, dried, and then heated by a patala jantram, leading to the emission of its essence. 8th process. Haritalam, roasted with linseed oil and contained in a glass bottle, is to be kept inside an earthen vessel, almost filled with rock salt, heated for 6 hours, leading to the essence of haritalam. This is then to be emission of a pure 9th process. 2 prastas of saltpeter and 1 prasta of haritalam are to be rubbed together with cow's urine for 3 days. These are again to be rubbed with 1/4 their combined weight of tankanam, an equal quantity of the juice of hastikarna palasha, and tila oil, double in quantity of the tankanam. All these are to be kept in a glass bottle and heated for 12 hours, and then as soon as white and pale smoke will be found to come out of the bottle. The mouth of the same will have to be stopped tightly, and the apparatus heated for 24 hours more. Then the apparatus will have to be cooled, and the pure essence of haritalam taken out of the bottle. This essence will have to be boiled with about 1 prasta of cow's urine until the whole of it evaporates. The essence is then to be rubbed with 1/30th part of its weight of sulfur and a little of tancanum, and then heated by a strong heat, which changes it into a lump of a compound substance absolutely free from injurious matter. This compound, with 11 times its weight of brass and a little of pure silver, may be heated in a crucible with the result that the whole thing turns into pure silver. 10th process. Haritalam emits its essence if rubbed with seeds of Iranda and Jayapala and heated in a glass bottle by means of a baluka jantram. 11th process. Pure lime in 1/4. Its quantity of navasaram are to be rubbed with water, double in quantity of the lime, and to be boiled in that water exactly in the way salt is prepared by boiling salt water, so that dirty matters found afloat on the surface is thrown away over and over again. Excellent and purified haritalam with an equal quantity of mercury, tankanam, and half the quantity of tankanam of the compound prepared from lime and navasara are to be rubbed together with the juices of kanya and sharapunka. All these are to be dried, put into a glass bottle, and heated for 24 hours, resulting in the emission of essence from the haritalam. 12th process. 1 palam of purified haritalam and an equal quantity of tankanam are to be rubbed together with each of the following separately: ram's milk, juice of kushmanda, juice of kanya, juice of nimbu, milk of bajra, that of arka, castor oil, honey, and ghee. These are then to be made into small balls and put into a glass bottle, previously wrapped up with mud and rag for several times. The bottle is then to be heated by means of a baluka jantram for 4 days, with the result that essence of haritalam, appearing like diamond, will be found deposited at the upper part of the bottle. 13th process. Haritalam, rubbed with decoction of kulata, tankanam, ghee of she-buffalo, and honey, and subjected to bhavana with ghee, is to be put into an earthen vessel covered by means of an earthen basin containing a few holes, the joint being closed tightly. The apparatus is then to be heated for 12 hours, after which pale white smoke is expected to come out through the hole. The fire is then to be extinguished, and when the apparatus gets cooled of itself, the pure essence of haritalam is to be taken out. Use of essence of haritalam. In vatarakta of an obstinate type, essence of haritalam is to be used in doses of 1 grain of rice. In weight, the diet being much of chanaka grams and clarified butter. 14 days of use result in the cure of the disease and the complexion of the skin becoming very clear. Removal of evil effects due to taking of impure haritalam is effected by taking for 3 days jira mixed with sugar. The evil effects of taking haritalam are removed by taking the juice of one of these 3, viz. Javasa, Ushmanda, and Rajahansa. One who takes haritalam should avoid altogether salt, sours, pungents, and exposure to heat of fire and sun. The man who is unable to avoid salt altogether may take a little of rock salt. Sweets are beneficial to the person who takes haritalam. Transformation of base metals into gold by haritalam. Haritalam is to be rubbed with the juice of rudanti. Copper leaf, smeared with this haritalam, turns into fine gold. The leaf of a metal consisting of 16 parts of silver and 12 parts of copper is to be smeared with an amalgam made of haritalam, makshikam, hingula, manas, shila, and mercury, all rubbed together for 3 days with the juice of kakamachi, the weight of each of these metals being part of the leaf, which is to be heated after it is so smeared. The product is gold. Haritalam, with an equal quantity of manas, shila, is to be rubbed with the juices of devadali and shiva, lingi for 1 day each. 5 palas of powdered lead, tin, and mercury, each equal in quantity, are to be rubbed with the amalgam of haritalam and manashila, described above, and with ghee, and then subjected to putam. The process of rubbing with the amalgam and ghee, and then of heating by putam is to be performed 60 times, resulting in the prepara, of a compound which can transform 100 times its weight of tin into silver. Manashila. Manashila is only a variety of haritalam. Haritalam is very yellow, whereas manashila is reddish in color. Different kinds of manashila. Manashila is of 3 different kinds, viz. Shyama, Kanaviraka, and Kanda. Shyama is reddish-white with a black tint and is heavy. Kanabiraka is bright without whiteness and has the appearance of copper. Kanda is in the form of powder. It is very red and heavy. The last mentioned, viz. Kanda, is the best of all varieties and has plenty of essence. Properties of Manas Shila. Manas Shila is an excellent rasayanam. It is bitter, pungent, producer of heat, destroyer of phlegm and air, and has an ample essence. It cures influences exerted by ghosts on human system, poison, indigestion, itches, cough, and phthisis. Manas Shila is heavy, improver of complexion, laxative, producer of heat in the system, destroyer of fat, pungent and bitter in taste, soothing and curer of poison, asthma, bronchitis, evil influences of ghosts, and impurities of the blood. Evil effects of taking Manas Shila not properly. Purified. Manas Shila, not properly purified, gives rise to stone disease, stricture, bleat, loss of appetite, and constipation. If properly purified, it cures all sorts of diseases. Purification of Manas Shila. First process. Manas Shila is purified if subjected to bhavana for 7 times with the juice of agastha leaves or of ginger. Second process. Manashila is purified and, as such, may be used in all sorts of diseases if boiled in a dolajantram with the juices of Jayanti, Bringaraja, and red agastya for 3 hours, and with goat's urine for another 3 hours, and then washed with aranala. Third process. Manas Shila is purified if it is boiled in a dola, jantram with the juices of Bringaraja, agastya, Jayanti, and ardraka. Fourth process. Manas Shila is purified if it is boiled with goat's urine for 3 days by means of a dola jantram, and then subjected to bhavana for 7 times goat's bile. Fifth process. Manas Shila is purified if it is subjected to bhavana for 7 times with lime water. Sixth process. Manas Shila is purified if subjected to bhavana for 7 times with the juice of baka leaves or of ginger. Extraction of essence of Manas Shila. Manas Shila discharges its essence if heated strongly by means of a bellows, after having been rubbed with 1/8 its weight of oxidized iron, gur, gogulu, and ghee. Second process. Manas Shila, rubbed with kashara and amla, and mixed with the essence of earthworm, tankanam, madana fruit, and juice of karabali leaves, all rubbed together, is to be put into a crucible and heated by means of charcoal, given twice only. This results in the extraction of essence from Manas Shila, antidotes to the bad effects of taking impure. Manas Shila. Manas Shila fails to produce any bad effect in one who takes cow's milk with honey for 3 days. Anjana stibnite, sulfide of lead, and other things, mainly used as collyrium. Anjana is of 5 different kinds, viz. Sovaranjana, Nilanjana, Rasanjana, Trotanjana, Kulatanjana, and Puspanjana. All of them are efficacious in eye disease. Saviranjanam. This can be obtained in the beds of river, Savira. It has the color of smoke, is cool, and is efficacious in hemorrhage, poison, hiccough, eye disease, and boils, Nilanjanam. It is blue, heavy, soothing, beneficial to eyesight, remover of the 3 doshas, destroyer of senile decay, killer of gold, and has the property of softening the metals. Rasanjanam. Rasanjanam is of 3 different kinds, of which the first is obtained in nature in the form of stone, whereas the second and the third are prepared artificially. The first kind of Rasanjana is obtained from rock in Turkey. It is yellowish in color and contains mercury as one of its constituents. It is pungent and bitter in taste and pacifies phlegm, poison, carbuncles, and eye diseases. It produces heat in the system, prevents and cures senile decay, and cures obesity. The second kind of Rasanjanam is an exudation or concentrated decoction of yellow sandal. It is yellowish in color. It cures diseases pertaining to the mouth, asthma, hiccough, and an excess of vayu, pitta, and blood. The third kind of Rasanjana is prepared by boiling daru harudra with an equal quantity of milk and condensing the mixture into 1/4 its original quantity. This Rasanjanam is also very efficacious in eye diseases. Protonianam. It is cool, soothing, astringent, and sweet. It is efficacious in obesity, eye diseases, hiccough, poison, nausea, excess of phlegm and animal heat, and impurities of the blood. It has the appearance of the top of a mound of earth raised by white ants. When broken into pieces, its inner surfaces appear to have the color of a blue lotus, but if rubbed, they turn red as red ochre. Kulatanjanam. This is black in color, astringent, pungent, cool, and is efficacious in eye disease, poison, boils, itches, and carbuncle. It also cures a kind of leprosy called kakanam and jaundice at a very advanced state. Pushpanjanam. It is white, soothing, and cool. It cures all sorts of eye diseases, cough off, a very virulent type, and fever due to poison. Purification of anjanas. All the anjanas are purified if subjected to bhavana with the juice of Bringaraja. Rasanjana alone is also purified if subjected to bhavana with the juice of Suryavarta, etc. Second process. Rasanjana is dissolved with a very hot water, filtered through a piece of cloth, and dried in the sun. Thus, purified, it cures diseases, otherwise not. Third process. All the anjanas are purified if they are powdered, subjected to bhavana with lime juice, and dried for 1 day in the sun. The following are also purified in the same way: Gairika, Kasisa, Kankana, Varatika, Shanka, Tabari, and Kankusta. Extraction of essence from anjanas. Essence of anjanas is to be extracted in the same way as that of manastela, The essence of Srotanjana may also be obtained in the same way as of Rajavarta, solidification of mercury by means of Srotanjana. Srotanjana, subjected to bhavana for several times with the juice of cow dung, cow's urine, ghee, honey, and tallow, solidifies mercury very soon. Kankustam. It is produced at the foot of the Himalayas and is of three different kinds, viz. Nalika, white, and Renuka. The first is yellow-colored, heavy, soothing, and the best of all varieties. The second, Fe, the white one, is inferior to the first and has very little essence in it. The third variety, viz. Renuka, is blackish yellow, light, devoid of essence, and is not suitable for medicinal purposes. Kankastam is an ore containing tin. Kankasta is bitter, pungent, producer of hot effect on the system, and highly purgative. It is efficacious in carbuncle, udavarta, colic, gulma, enlargement of the spleen, piles, and fistula. It cures rheumatism and causes purgation very quickly. It also affects a quick cure of an exceptionally enlarged spleen and of dropsy. First process. Kankusta is purified if subjected to bhavana for 3 times with a decoction of shunti. Second process. All the uparasas are purified if subjected to bhavana for several times with ksharas, amlas, and with the juice of any one of the following: Suryavarta, Kadali, Vandyakakotaki, Koshataki, Devadali, Shigru, Vajrakanda, Jala Pipali, and Kakamachi. Essence is discharged by the uparasas if heated after they have been purified in that way. Kankustam is full of essence. It is therefore not necessary to extract an essence from it. How to take Kankustam? If taken in doses of only 1 java a day mixed with something which has the property of hardening the stools, Kankustam removes all the mucus from the system by purgation. If taken with betel leaf, it causes death by overpurgation. To undo the evil effects of Kankustam, it is necessary to drink over and over again the decoction of the root of a barbura tree, mixed with an equal quantity of jira and tankana. Chapter 3rd. Kampila. Kampila is like brick dust, glazy, and highly purgative. It grows in the locality of Saurashtra. It is efficacious in an excess of pittam, carbuncles and boils, swelling of the belly with wind, constipation, excess of phlegm, udara, worms, gulma, piles, fistula, fever, and colic, and all other diseases curable by purgation. Purification of sadharana uparasas. The sadharana uparasas, that is, uparasas belonging to group 3rd, are purified if subjected to bhavana with the juices of matulunga and ardraka for 3 times. All sorts of essences of ores and metals are purified and combined with one another if heated with the Shuddhi Varga or Shodhanya Gana, evil eye, page 306. Kampila cures boils, skin diseases, and even carbuncles on the backbone if it is mixed with cow's ghee and applied as an ointment. In case of a carbuncle on the backbone, it is necessary, first of all, to apply on it, for 1 day, a paste of bimbi leaves, slightly heated, and then to apply the ointment prepared by mixing powdered kampila with cow's ghee. In the absence of ghee, coconut oil may be used for this purpose. Gauripashana. Gauripashana is of 3 kinds, viz. Red, yellow, and white. They are mentioned here in order of their. It is no other than the essence of haritalam. Gauripashana is also of 2 kinds, viz. Mineral and that which is obtained from haritalam. Haritalam, rubbed with castor oil and lime juice and heated by means of a baluka jantram, discharges red Gauripashana as its essence. Purification of arsenic stone. Arsenic stone is purified if it is confined inside a second process. Since Gauripashana is an essence of haritalam, it is also to be purified in the same way as haritalam. Extraction of essence from Gauripashana. Essence of Gauripashana is to be extracted in the same way as that of haritala. This essence is pure, white, soothing, and destroyer of the 3 doshas. It is used in the solidification of mercury and increases the potency of the same. Navasara. Navasara or chulika salt is a kshara which is sometimes found to grow in karira and pilu wood when in a state of decomposition. It is the same pale, saltish, and light thing which is sometimes found deposited on burnt brick. The stool of man, camel, hog, etc. is to be dissolved with water and filtered through a piece of cloth for several times, and then dried up by means of heat, the product being Navasara. Properties of Navasara. It helps the exhaustion of mercury and the melting of metals, increases appetite, cures gulma, enlargement of the spleen, and dryness of the mouth. It helps the digestion in the stomach of such heavy food as meat, etc. It is one of the constituents of what is called a vita, and is a pacifier of the 3 doshas. Navasara is saltish. It expedites the discharge from the system of things which have already commenced to come out. It is cool, and is efficacious in dropsy, heart, disease, liver complaints, fever, enlargement of the spleen, head disease, tumor, diseases pertaining to the female breast, ractopedum, cough, fracture of bones, and in diseases pertaining to the vagina. Kapadaka. The cowrie shell, which is yellowish in color, having a knot and circle on the back, is known by the 217 name of chara. Cowries of this type only may be used in medicines. Of these, the one which is 1 niska in weight is the best. That which is 1 niska in weight is of moderate quality, and that which is of a niska te of a tola in weight is inferior in quality. That which is less than 1% of a tola in weight is a male cowrie, is useless for the purpose of medicines, and causes an excess of pitta if used in medicine. Although found beneficial in some cases, all such cowries give rise to several evil effects, and should therefore be avoided for medicinal purposes. Properties of cowrie, or marine shell. It cures all sorts of colic, including that which is felt just at the time of digestion of food. It also cures chronic diarrhea and festis. It is pungent, hot, increasing the power of digestion, nutritive, beneficial to the eye, and pacifier of an excess of vayu and kapha. It is one of the best of the materials constituting what is called a vita, referred to in the exhaustion of mercury. The cowries which do not conform to the description given above are male cowries. They are not easily digested and give rise to an increase of phlegm and animal heat. Purification of kapardi. Kapardi or cowrie is purified if boiled with kanji for 3 hours. Incineration of kapardi or cowrie, first process. Cowrie is reduced to ashes if placed upon charcoal fire until it bursts. When cooled of itself, it may be reduced to powder and used in all things. Second process. Kapardi is undoubtedly reduced to ashes if subjected to putam by means of a strong fire. When cooled of itself, it is to be reduced to powder and used as required. Third process. A big and wide-mouthed earthen pot is to be placed in a pit made in a clean and level soil. About half of this pot is to be filled with paddy husks into which is to be placed the closed crucible or samputam containing cowries. Upon this crucible or samputam is to be made a fire made of cow dung cakes, which will effect the incineration of the cowries. The apparatus referred to here is called the panika jantram, shanka. Shanka is of two kinds, viz. The dakshinavarta that which has got its involution from left to right, and the vamavarta, that is that which has got it in an opposite direction. None but the virtuous can procure the former. The latter does not indicate good fortune in the owner. The homestead which contains a conch of the former description is the abode of the goddess of fortune. Such a shell is a destroyer of an abnormal excess of the 3 doshas. It is pure and a wealth in itself. A conch shell, which is devoid of dirt, is moon-white in color, and if duly purified, is commendable for medicinal purposes, otherwise not. Purification of shanka. Shanka is purified if boiled in a dola jantram with amlas mixed with kanji. Incineration of shanka. 1 palam of shanka, killed by being heated in a blind crucible, is to be rubbed by means of a rod with half a masha of tankanam and then used in medicines. Properties of shanka. Shanka cures all sorts of diseases, especially chronic diarrhea, colic pain, acidity with biliousness, swelling of the belly with wind, fermentoria, and heart disease. It also increases the power of digestion of food. It is a kshara and has a cooling effect on the system. It removes the looseness of stool, even in chronic diarrhea. It cures white blot in the eye, is a tonic, and cures pimples in the face of young men. Vanijara or Agnijara. Agnijara is the uterine excreta of Agninakra, thrown upon the beach by sea waves, and dried up by the sun. Agnijara is the pacifier of the 3 doshas. It cures tetanus and other diseases due to an excess of vayu. It increases the potency of mercury and the power of digestion. It is already purified by contact with the kshara contained in seawater, and does not therefore require any further purification. Girisinduram. This is found in small quantities inside rocks in big mountains. It is dry and red. This is a compound of lead and other things. It has all the properties possessed by lead, but it possesses other qualities also on account of its containing a little of mercury and sulfur. Properties of Girisinduram. It is a pacifier of the 3 doshas, laxative, good solidifier of mercury, and is beneficial to eyesight. It makes the body as strong as iron. Both kinds of red vermilion, viz. Girisinduram, which is a natural product, and artificial red vermilion, manufactured in the laboratory. For the process of preparing the latter, see under lead, are efficacious in erysipelas, leprosy, itches, and poison. They help the joining of broken limbs, are disinfectants, and heal boils and carbuncles. Red vermilion, fit for use. Red vermilion is considered pure and fit for use in medicine, if it is well colored, able to stand the heat. Of fire, fine, soothing, transparent, heavy, soft, and is obtained from a gold mine. Purification of red vermilion. First process. The red vermilion, which is obtained from a gold mine and is pure in itself, need not be purified. The one which is not of this description should be purified by being subjected to bhavana with milk and sour vegetable juice. Second process. Red vermilion is purified if it is rubbed with lemon juice, dried in the sun, and then subjected to pavana with rice water. Varieties of hingula. Hingula is of 3 different kinds, viz., charmara, chukatundaka, and hansapada. Of these, the third is better than the second, and the second is better than the first. Charmara has the color of a parrot, chukatundaka is yellowish, whereas hansapaka is as red as japa flower and coral with white streaks here and there. Properties of hingula. Hingula is a destroyer of all the 3 doshas. It increases the power of digesting food and is an excellent medicine for the cure and prevention of sterile decay. It cures all sorts of diseases, is nutritive, and is very useful for the purpose of incineration of metal. Especially does it cure spermatorrhea and leprosy. It increases appetite, strength, memory, and power of digestion. Mercury, extracted from hingula, is as good as that which has swallowed some sulfur. First process. Hingula is purified if subjected to pavana for 7 times with the juice of ginger or lakucha. Second process. Hingula is purified if it is rubbed for 7 times with the juice of the amlavarga and buffalo's milk, and dried each time it is so rubbed. Third process. Hingula is purified if it is subjected to pavana for 7 times with ram's milk and the juice of the amlavarga. Fourth process. Hingula is purified if it is boiled in a dolajantram with lime juice and then subjected to pavana for 7 times with goat's urine. Hingula is purified if it is boiled for 3 days in a dolajantram with the juice of jayanti leaves, or in urine, or in kanji, or in lemon juice. Preparations of hingula. First process. Hingula is to be broken into pieces of the size of chanagram and kept in a pot made of lead or iron. It is then to be heated steadily. When heated, it is to be saturated with each of the liquids undermentioned, the quantity of the latter being equal to the hingula itself. When one of the liquids gets dried up, the hingula is to be saturated with the liquid next mentioned, and so on. The juice or liquids are ram's milk for 10 times, juice of kshirika for 10 times, juice of arka for 10 times, decoction of the dipta varga for 10 times, juice of virakarka for 5 times, dugdha varga for 5 times. The hingula is then to be subjected to pavana with all the liquids mentioned above, one by one, in order of their merit. This hingula is called the shatarka darada, or the hingula which has been prepared with 100 liquids. This cures various diseases and is a jogabahi, or a medicine which enhances the properties of a thing with which it is taken. Second process. 2 palas of purified hingula are to be confined in a piece of cloth, or folded. 6 palas of the root of kandari are to be rubbed well and made into a paste, with which is to be coated the surface of the bundle containing hingula. The whole thing being made into a ball which is to be wrapped up well with aranda leaves and then coated very carefully with mud and dried. This ball is to be heated by putam with a fire made of 10 pieces of cow dung cake. This is to be done for 101 times. The medicine, thus prepared, is equal in potency to rasa sindaram, prepared carefully. Dose: 1 rakti a day to be taken with an equal quantity of powdered lavanga. Third process. Purified hingula is to be wrapped up by means of a fine piece of cloth, coated all over with a paste made of onion, and made into a ball, which is to be covered with aranda leaves and then with mud and rag. The ball is then to be dried and heated by a putam by means of fire made of 10 pieces of cow dung cakes. The process is to be performed 100 times. It is again to be performed 100 times with each of the following: used as paste instead of onion egg fruit, fruit of Indrabaruni, and ripe amla vetasa fruit. Hingula is thus subjected to putam for 400 times, i.e., 100 times with each of the following: onion, egg fruit, Indrabaruni, and amla vetasa. The medicine thus prepared is to be taken with betel leaf in doses of 1 rakti a day. Thus used, it cures asthma, cough, fever, increases retentive and faculties, beauty, memory, and procreative energy. It also has the power to prevent and cure senility. Preparation of cinnabar at laboratory. Hingula is of 2 kinds, viz., that which is obtained in mines and that which is prepared at laboratory by the combination of mercury and sulfur. The process of preparing cinnabar at laboratory is as follows: 1 part of mercury and 4 parts of sulfur are to be placed in an iron pot and heated for some time. The amalgam is then to be broken into pieces and put into a glass bottle, previously coated all round with mud and rag 1 anguli deep, and dried in shade. The bottle is to be heated by means of a baluka jantram for 1 day with mild heat. It is then to be heated for 5 days continuously by means of a fire increasing gradually in intensity at a uniform rate. The heating is then to be discontinued, and the contents of the glass bottle taken out on the 7th day. The product will be found to be hingula. Evil effects of impure hingula. Hingula, not properly purified, gives rise to leprosy, impotency, fatigue, giddiness, and derangement of the brain. The chemist physician should, therefore, purify They're remedied. The evil effects of taking hingula, not properly purified, may be remedied in the same way as prescribed in the case of mercury, essence of hingula. Hingula discharges its essence in the shape of mercury if subjected to sublimation, the sublimated mercury being allowed to be condensed in a water, trough forming a part of the Tirjak Patana Yantram, Mridra Sringakam. It is found by the side of the Arvuda hill near about Gurjara. It is yellow in color. It has lead for its essence. It is heavy, pacifier of phlegm, and curer of syphilis. It helps the solidification of mercury and is a good dyer of hair. Purification of Mridra Sringakam. The process is the same as in Kampila. Bunaga. Earthworms are of 4 different kinds according to the nature of the mines in the neighborhood of which they grow, viz., those which grow near gold mines, those which grow near silver mines, those which grow near iron mines, and those which grow near copper mines. The first 3 are rare. The 4th is easier to procure and is more efficacious than the other varieties. Earthworms growing in ordinary soil are of very little worth and have got a very little essence. Purification of earthworms. Rasaka, Haratala, Manasashila, essence of tutam, and earthworms, etc., are purified by being boiled with ksharas and amlas for 1 day only. Extraction of essence from earthworm. First process. Essence can be obtained from earthworms if they are boiled with milk, rubbed with the soil raised by these worms or with tankanam, and then heated. Second process. Earthworms growing in sharat are to be mixed with molasses, honey, ghee, tankana, tuber of the root of a banana plant, and tuber of sharana. All these are to be rubbed into a ball, dried, and then heated until essence is discharged. This essence is to be taken out of the dirty substance. Third process. Earthworms growing in the proximity of copper mines are to be rubbed with molasses, gugula, lac, wool, small fish, oil cakes, and borax and made into a ball which is to be dried and heated, resulting in the discharge of a copper-like essence. An essence can similarly be obtained from PPE cock feathers. Properties of the essence of earth worm. Essence of earth worms is cool. It cures all sorts of carbuncles and leprosy. A draught of water touched by this essence has the property of pacifying all sorts of poisons, organic or inorganic. It imparts to mercury the property of standing the heat of fire. Such are also the properties of the essence of peacock's feathers. Chapter 6. Metals. There are 7 metals, viz., gold, silver, copper, iron, zinc, tin, and lead. The mixed metals are 3 in number, viz., brass, bell, metal, and vartaka. They are called dhatus simply because they prevent senility and thinness and cure fever and other diseases, and thus sustain the system. Suvarna. Gold is red when melted, but white when cut into 2. It leaves a saffron-like tint when rubbed upon a touchstone. The gold which is devoid of impurities, soothing, soft, and heavy, is commendable. That which is white, hard, coarse, discolored, full of impurities, consists of layers, turns black when melted and cut into 2, leaves a white impression on a touchstone, is light and brittle, is to be avoided. Varieties of gold. Gold is of 2 kinds, viz., that which is transformed from base metals through the agency mainly of mercury, especially prepared, and that which is all diseases, if duly purified, incinerated, and applied as medicine for internal use with suitable accompaniment. Properties of gold. Gold is soothing, cure, nutritive, curer of poison, phthisis, insanity, and other diseases. It increases memory, intelligence, retentive faculties, appetite, and power of digestion of food. It pacifies all the 3 doshas and is sweet in taste after it is digested in the stomach. Gold is cool, nutritive, strengthening, heavy, curer, and preventer of senility, sweet, bitter, and astringent in taste. It turns sweet and slippery after it is digested in the stomach. It is pure, nutritive, beneficial to eyesight, increaser of the retentive faculties, memory and consciousness, beneficial to the heart, and increaser of longevity. It stabilizes beauty and purity of speech. It cures 2 kinds of poison, phthisis and insanity. Gold increases vitality, fortune, beauty, intelligence, and memory. It destroys all sorts of diseases, pacifies the evil influences exerted on human beings by ghosts, is an aphrodisiac, and gives rise to happiness and nutrition. It cures diseases, prevents senility, removes loss of memory and consciousness. It also removes thinness, develops the mind, and increases semen. Evil effects of taking gold not properly purified. And kill. Gold, not properly purified and incinerated, destroys, if taken internally, health, semen, and strength, and gives rise to various diseases. It should therefore be stripped of alloy, purified, and killed. Purification of gold. First process. Pure mineral gold, which has got only 14 colors, becomes absolutely pure and assumes 16 colors if it is mixed with pansulavana or salt prepared from ashes of plantain, etc., and heated over charcoal fire for 1.5 hours. Second process. Leaves of gold, silver, brass, copper, and iron are purified if they are heated over fire and immersed while still hot into oil, buttermilk, milk, congee, and decoction of kulata for 7 times each, separately. The term purification of a metal, as used in this book, does not mean to purify it physically, but to purify it medicinally. No metal which is physically impure should be used in medicines, except, of course, the mixed metals. Third process. All sorts of metals are purified if they are heated for 7 times and immersed each time in the juice of the root of a banana plant. Fourth process. Gold is purified if subjected to putam with burnt mud and salt, after having been previously subjected to bhavana for 5 times with mud and juice of matulunga. Fifth process. The panchamritika are to be rubbed with lime juice and aranala and made into a paste with which is to be coated the surfaces of gold leaves, which are next to be subjected to putam after 3 days. Gold is thus purified. Sixth process. Gold is purified if heated, as in the preceding process, after having been coated with the panchamritika, previously subjected to bhavana for 3 days with the juice of matulunga, rock salt, and burnt mud. Seventh process. Pure gold is to be melted in fire and immersed in the juice of kanchanara. The process is to be performed thrice, resulting in the purification of the gold. Important. The killing. Incineration of gold. Mercury is the best. Drugs is the next in. Metal with the help of memorated, that with the help of vegetable effic, that with the help of sulfur, etc., is still less efficacious, whereas that with the help of a metal having antagonistic properties is positively injurious. Worms grow in the abdomen of the man who takes metals killed without the help of mercury. The physicians who are experts in the performance of processes explained by Siddha Lakshmaswara have no doubt that the ashes of metals containing mercury are the best that can be prepared. See the fourth process. First process. Leaves of gold, so thin as to be pierced through by acacia thorn, are to be smeared with a paste made of incinerated mercury, rubbed with the juice of matulunga, and then subjected to putam. The process, performed for 10 times, will lead to the incineration of the gold. Second process. Gold is to be melted over fire and mixed with an equal quantity of incinerated mercury. The amalgam thus prepared is then to be powdered, rubbed with the juice of matulunga and cinnabar, and then subjected to putam. 12 such putams will result in the reduction of the gold to ashes of the color of saffron. Third process. Gold leaves are reduced to ashes if they are smeared with 1/4 their weight of incinerated mercury, rubbed with a non-mineral acid, and subjected to putam for 8 times. Fourth process. All the metals may be reduced to ashes in the following way. 1 part of mercury and 2 parts of sulfur are to be rubbed into kajvali, and then mixed with 3 parts of the metal and rubbed for 6 hours with the juice of kanya. The whole thing is then to be made into a ball, wrapped up with aranda leaves, kept in a copper pot, and exposed to the sun for half an hour till the ball grows hot. It is then to be kept inside a heap of rice for 3 days, covered with an earthen basin. On the 4th day, the lump is to be powdered very fine and sifted through a piece of cloth. This powder will be found to be so light as to float on the surface of water. Gold and the 6 other metals become very efficacious if killed in a baluka jantram mixed with mercury and sulfur. The metal gains in efficacy if incinerated with 2 to 6 times its weight of sulfur. Fifth process. Mercury with twice its weight of sulfur is to be rubbed together with a vegetable acid and made into a black powder, which again is to be rubbed in the same manner with thin gold leaves, equal in quantity to the mercury and sulfur combined, and made into a lump. The whole thing is then to be covered with rock salt, put below and upon it, and confined within a samputam, which is to be heated for 24 hours, resulting in the incineration of the gold, which may now be used for all purposes. Sixth process. Purified gold leaves are to be smeared again and again with mercury and sulfur. They are then to be immersed in the juice of kanchanara, langali, and jwalamukhi, and confined within a samputam, which is then to be subjected to heat, resulting in the incineration of the gold. Seventh process. Purified mercury and an equal quantity of thin gold leaves cut into pieces are to be rubbed together and made into a lump, which is to be confined in a samputam with double its quantity of sulfur, put on all sides of the lump. The samputam is then to be subjected to heat by fire made of 30 pieces of cow dung balls found dried in the pasturage. The process is to be performed for 14 times, leading to the incineration of the gold. Eighth process. Gold leaves are to be rubbed with purified mercury and made into a ball, which is to be covered on all sides with powdered lead and then subjected to putam, which causes the incineration. Ninth process. Gold leaves, smeared with mercury or ashes of mercury, are to be rubbed for 1 day with the juice of kanchana and an equal quantity of hingu, hingula, sindura, and manas. Shila, and made into a ball which is to be kept at the bottom of a vessel, the remaining parts of which are to be filled with ashes. The vessel is then to be subjected to putam for 2 times, and opened only when cooled of itself. If, on opening the vessel, a part of the ball is found to be still unincinerated, it is again to be subjected to putam for 2 times. In this way, gold is reduced to ashes which cannot be restored to the original state. In the foregoing process for incineration of gold, each of Langali, Jwalamukhi, and Manas Shila may be used as a substitute for Kanchana. 10th process. Gold and an equal quantity of mercury are to be rubbed together and made into a lump, which is to be heated by fire, causing the disappearance of the mercury from the lump. The gold is then to be mixed with an equal quantity of copper and subjected. The putam leading to the incineration of the gold. 11th process. Thin leaves of gold are to be smeared with incinerated lead rubbed with lemon juice and subjected to putam. This process is to be performed for 3 times. The ashes, thus prepared, are to be deprived of the lead if they are again rubbed with hingula and subjected to putam for 3 times. 12th process. Gold leaves, smeared with Stovira anjanam, previously rubbed with the juice of Bringaraja, are reduced to ashes if subjected to gajaputam. 13th process. 1 tola of gold and 1 masha of purified lead are to be melted and rolled together with some sour vegetable juice and then powdered. This powder, with an equal quantity of sulfur and swarnamakshika, are to be rubbed for 3 hours with a sour vegetable juice and subjected to lagu putam 10 times, fresh quantity of sulfur being used every time. Gold is incinerated in this way. 14th process. Powdered manas, shila, and red vermilion are to be subjected to bhavana with an equal quantity of the milk of arka. This powder is to be thrown into an equal quantity of melted gold, which is to be heated again in such a way as to let the powder disappear altogether. If the process is repeated for 3 times, the gold will be incinerated. I smea toge. 16th process. Gold leaves, cut into pieces, with half their weight of mercury, are to be rubbed together and made into a lump, which is reduced to ashes. If subjected to putam after having been confined in a samputam with powdered lead, put below and upon the lump. 17th process. Gold is incinerated if smeared with powdered lead and manas shila, rubbed with the milk of bajri, and then subjected to putam. 18th process. Gold leaves are to be smeared with incinerated lead, rubbed with the milk of snuhi or some sour vegetable juice, and then heated by gajaputam. It is then to be smeared with 1/8 its quantity of earthworms rubbed with some sour vegetable juice, and again subjected to heat by gajaputam. Performance of this process for 8 times will result in the incineration of the gold leaves. 19th process. Gold leaves are to be smeared with purified mercury, an equal quantity of sulfur, and the same quantity of makshika, all rubbed with a strong non-metallic acid. They are then to be subjected to heat by gajaputam. 8 such putams will cause the incineration of the leaves. 20th process. Gold leaves with double. Their quantity of mercury are to be rubbed together for 3 hours with a sour vegetable juice. Swarna makshikam, equal in quantity to gold, is to be similarly rubbed. Half the quantity of this is to be put at the bottom of the crucible. Upon this is to be placed the gold leaves rubbed with mercury, upon which is to be kept the remaining half of the swarna makshikam. Next is to be put powdered sulfur, equal in quantity to the gold. The crucible is then to be closed and heated steadily for some time. It is then to be broken open, and a fresh quantity of sulfur of the same weight, as before, is again to be put, and the crucible closed and heated as before. Sulfur is thus to be put for 6 times in all. 5 parts of these ashes and 1 part each of tankanam and white glass are to be rubbed with honey and ghee and made into a lump. This is to be confined within a samputam with 1 part of danyabraka put below and upon the lump. The crucible is then to be closed and heated for 2 gatis, with the result that the ashes of gold attain a state of incineration in which it is physically impossible to restore them to their original state. 20. First process. Gold leaves are to be smeared with the juice of aragbada, balataka, and tankana, all rubbed together and then subjected to gajaputam. The process is to be performed for 7 times, leading to the incineration of the gold leaves. Accompaniments of gold. Incinerated gold cures inflammation of the body if taken with the bile of fish. It is nutritive if taken with the juice of Bringaraja. It serves as a tonic if taken with milk. It improves eyesight if taken with the juice of Punarnava, serves as a rasayanam. If taken with clarified butter, improves memory. If taken with basha, improves beauty. If taken with saffron, cures phthisis. If taken with milk, removes poison. If taken with nirbishi. It also cures insanity due to the 3 doshas. If taken with shunti, lavanga, and marisha, incinerated gold, when taken with powdered, marika and ghee, in doses of 2 raktas a day, cures phthisis, loss of appetite, asthma, nausea, jaundice, chronic diarrhea, and all kinds of poison. It increases vitality, strength, and is an excellent tonic. Gold remains in liquid state for a very long time, if mixed with bone and fat of frog, borax, karabi, and an insect called indragopa. The insect called indragopa, duly powdered and subjected to bhavana with the juice of devadali fruit, turns gold into water, like liquid, very nice to look at. Rupiah. The best silver has the following characteristic. It is heavy, soothing, mild, white when melted, malleable, white as conch shell, smooth, glossy, and free from crack. Silver of 8 kinds are to be rejected, viz. That which is red, yellow, or black when heated, and that which is coarse, brittle, light, stiff, and rough. Variety of silver. Silver is of 3 different kinds, viz. That which is as old as the earth, that which grows in mines, and artificial, that is, silver prepared from base metals. Silver which is as old as the earth. Silver of this description is to be found in Kailash and some other mountain. Such a silver cures diseases by mere touch only. Silver growing in mines. The silver which grows in mines found in the peaks of the Himalayas and in other places is called mineral silver. Such a silver is a good curer and preventer of senility. Artificial silver. Artificial silver is the one which is nothing but tin, copper, or lead, transformed into silver by mercury. It cures all sorts of diseases if applied properly. Qualities of silver. Silver is astringent and sour in taste, but it turns sweet when digested in the stomach. It is cool, laxative, reducer of fat, increaser of appetite, soothing, pacifier of vayu and kapha, and increaser of the digesting heat in the stomach. It strengthens the body, retains youth, and increases memory. Silver is cool, astringent, sour, pacifier of pittam, and vayu, and heavy in point of digestion. It cures all the diseases if taken in accordance with the regulations prescribed for taking of medicines efficacious in curing and preventing senile decay. Silver is to be purified and incinerated. Silver, not properly purified and incinerated, impairs longevity, semen, and strength. It gives rise to inflammation and constipation. It should therefore be purified and incinerated. Purification of silver. First process. Leaves of gold and the other metals are best purified if they are heated and immersed, while still hot, 7 times, in each of the following liquids, respectively, oil, buttermilk, cow's urine, arenala, and decoction of kulatha. Second process. Silver is purified if it is melted for 3 times with a little of lead and broke thrown upon it, and then immersed each time in the oil obtained from the fruits of jyotismati. Third process. The central portion of an earthen pot is to be enclosed by means of a mortar made of ashes and lime. Inside this enclosure is to be kept silver and an equal quantity of lead. The vessel is then to be heated until the lead is burnt and consumed altogether, leaving the silver pure and free from alloys. Fourth process. Leaves of silver are purified if they are heated for 3 times and immersed in the juice of agastya, each time it is so heated. Fifth process. Physically pure silver is to be purified by means of lead, etc. It is then to be made into fine leaves which are to be heated and immersed in the juices of tamarind and raisin. Incineration of silver. First process. Mercury and purified silver leaves, cut into pieces, are to be rubbed together with the juices of lakucha and made into a lump which is to be put into a krushi, Bali with powdered sulfur put above and below the lump. The crucible is to be heated in a baluka, yantram for 1 day by means of a steady fire. When cooled of itself, the lump is to be rubbed with haritala and a sour vegetable juice, and then subjected to putam for 12 times, which will result in the incineration of the silver. Second process. Silver is to be rubbed with powdered makshika and juice of matulunga and subjected to putam. Performance of this process for 30 times will lead to the incineration of silver. Third process. Leaves of copper are to be smeared with a paste made of makshika previously subjected to bhava with the milk of snuhi. They are then to be subjected to putam, resulting in the reduction of the leaves to such ashes as cannot be restored to their original condition. Fourth process. 4 parts of purified silver leaves and 1 part of purified haritalam are to be rubbed together with lime juice and dried. They are then to be confined within a blind crucible and subjected to putam by means of fire made of 30 pieces of cow dung cake. Performance of this process for 14 times will affect the incineration of the silver leaf. Fifth process. Leaves of silver are to be smeared with makshika and sulfur rubbed with the milk of arka. They are then to be dried and subjected to putam, which will reduce the leaves to ashes. Sixth process. Leaves of silver are incinerated if they are smeared with a paste made of bhumi, amalaki, makshika, pipali, sandava, and amla, all equal in quantity, and subjected to putam, the process being repeated as many times as necessary. Seventh process. 4 parts of silver leaves are to be smeared with 1 part of incinerated tin, rubbed with lime juice. They are then to be dried and subjected to putam by means of fire made of 25 pieces of cow dung cake. The process is to be performed for 3 times, resulting in the incineration of the leaf. Powdered sulfur is to be put on all sides of the leaves every time they are subjected to putam. Eighth process. Mercury and sulfur, equal in quantity, and root of kakatunda are to be rubbed with buffalo's milk and dissolved with water. The solution is to be rubbed with turmeric and made into a ball, which is to be kept inside a heap of horse dung for 21 days. The leaves are then to be smeared with a paste made of the ball rubbed with some sour vegetable juice, and then subjected to putam for 20 times, which will cause the reduction of the leaves to ashes. Ninth process. Silver leaves are to be made into a lump by means of mercury. This is then to be rubbed with haritala and sulfur by means of lime juice, and then subjected to putam for 2 or 3 times. This will result in the incineration of silver. 10th process. 3 parts of silver leaves are to be smeared with 1 part of haritala previously rubbed for 3 hours with some sour vegetable juice, and then subjected to putam by means of 30 pieces of cow dung balls found dried in pasturage. The process is to be performed for 14 times before the silver is reduced to ashes. Ashes of silver are to be rubbed with purified haritala by means of a sour vegetable juice, and then subjected to putam. The powder, thus prepared, cures all sorts of diseases. 11th process. Silver is incinerated if immersed in a solution of 4 times its weight of haritala, dissolved with the juice of pomegranate, and subjected to baraha putam for 3 times. Uses of incinerated silver. Purified and incinerated silver cures phthisis, anemia, udara roga, piles, asthma, cough, loss of eyesight, and all sorts of diseases due to an abnormal excess of pitam. If it is taken every morning with an equal quantity of incinerated mica and copper, combined with powdered trikatu and triphala, equal in quantity to the 3 combined, all of these rubbed with sufficient quantity of clarified butter and honey. Silver, duly purified and incinerated, cures inflammation, etc. If taken with sugar, it cures an abnormal excess of vayu and pitam. If taken with the triphala, it cures gonorrhea. If taken with the trisugandhi, it cures gulma. If taken with kashara, it cures cough and excess of phlegm. If taken with the juice of basaka and trikatu, it cures asthma. If taken with bargi and shunti, it cures consumption. If taken with shilajatu, it cures thinness. If taken with meat juice or milk, it cures enlargement of the spleen and the liver. If taken with triphala and pipali, it cures dropsy. If taken with punarnava, it cures anemia. If taken with oxidized iron of at least 60 years standing, duly purified and incinerated. It cures senile decay and also increases beauty and appetite if taken with clarified. Butter, liquefaction of silver. Gold and silver turn into liquid without the application of heat as soon as a little of devadali fruit, powdered finely and subjected to bhavana for 100 times, is thrown upon the metal. Tamra. Copper is of 2 kinds, viz. That which is found in Nepal and that which is found elsewhere. The copper found in Nepal is the better of the second kind of copper is known by the name of Misha copper. Copper of the first kind is very smooth, soft, red, malleable, heavy, incapable of losing its properties by the application of heat, and has excellent properties. Copper of the second class is red with white or black tint, is hard, causes vomiting in excess, and assumes a black appearance even when washed off. Characteristics of bad copper. The copper, which is pale, blackish red, light, full of crack, coarse, and consists of layers, should not be used in mercurial operations and medicine. Characteristics of good copper. Good copper is red as java flower, is soft and soothing, malleable, and free from iron and lead. Such a copper should be used for incineration. For the purpose of incineration, Nepal copper is to be used. Other copper may also be used, if properly freed from alloy, in the absence of absolute cure. Copper, the expert physician should make use of the essence of tutaka. Properties of copper. Copper is astringent, sweet and bitter, but sour and pungent when digested in the stomach. It is a purgative. It pacifies pitam and phlegm, is cool, heals boils, carbuncles, etc., is light and cures obesity. It also cures the following diseases: anemia, udara, piles, fever, leprosy, cough, asthma, phthisis. Pinasa, dyspepsia with acidity, dropsy, worms, colic, obesity, poison, and eye disease. Evil properties of copper, not duly purified, incinerated. Copper, not duly purified and incinerated, impairs longevity, beauty, semen, and strength. It also gives rise to vomiting, loss of consciousness, nausea, leprosy, and colic. Purification of copper. First process. Copper is purified and freed from the 5 defects referred to above if it is melted with kasharas, amlas, and garikam by means of a fire of cow dung cake, and then immersed in buttermilk prepared out of buffalo's milk, process being performed for 7 times. Second process. Leaves of copper freed from alloys are purified medicinally if they are smeared with rock salt, rubbed with lime juice, heated, and then immersed into gruel made of barley, the process being performed for 8 times. Third process. Leaves of copper are purified if they are smeared with lime juice mixed with saltpeter, heated, and then immersed in the juice of Nirgundi, the process being performed for 8 times. Fourth process. Copper leaves are purified if they are boiled with cow's urine for 3 hours on a strong fire. Fifth process. See process 2, page 242. Sixth process. Copper leaves are to be heated and immersed in the juice of Nirgundi after having been smeared with the milks of Snuhi and Arka, salt, and kanji. The process is to be repeated for 12 times. The leaves are then to be smeared again with chalk and salt, rubbed with buttermilk, heated, and while still hot, to be immersed in the juice of Nirgundi, rubbed with a sour vegetable juice. This last process is to be performed for 6 times. This is how copper is purified. Incineration of copper. First process. Copper leaves are incinerated if they are smeared with mercury and sulfur, rubbed with lime juice, and then heated by putam, the process being performed 3 times. Second process. Thin leaves of copper are to be kept immersed in cow's urine for 15 hours in an earthen vessel. After the lapse of that period, mercury, equal in quantity to the copper, and sulfur, double the quantity of the same, are to be put into that vessel containing cow's urine. Changeri leaves, duly rubbed, are also to be put upon the copper leaves. The mouth of the vessel is then to be closed tightly and heat applied underneath. Heating the vessel for 3 hours will lead to the incineration of the copper, which may now be used for all purposes. Third process. A fine and black powder is to be prepared by rubbing together 4 parts of mercury, 4 parts of sulfur, 2 parts of orpiment, and 1 part of manis, shila. This black powder and copper leaves, equal in quantity to the mercury, are to be put in layers inside a garbage antram and heated for 3 hours. When cooled of itself, the leaves are to be powdered. The ashes thus prepared cure colic, udara roga, anemia, fever, gulma, enlargement of spleen and liver, phthisis, loss of digesting power, gonorrhea, piles, and chronic and obstinate diarrhea. If taken with suitable anupanam in doses of 6 raktis a day, this copper is called somanatha tamram. Fourth process. Mercury with an equal quantity of sulfur and copper leaves, double the quantity of mercury, are to be rubbed together with the juice of kanya and kept in an earthen vessel. The amalgam, thus prepared, is to be covered by means of an earthen basin placed inside the vessel, the remaining portion of the vessel being filled with salt. The vessel is then to be covered closely by means of another earthen basin placed at the mouth. The vessel is now to be heated for 12 hours, resulting in the incineration of the copper leaves, which are now to be powdered very fine and used in all sorts of diseases, in doses of 3 raktis a day, taken with honey and pipili. It is especially efficacious in gulma, enlargement of the spleen and liver, hysteria, colic, udara roga, piles, and diseases relating to the head. It also cures fever affecting the 7 dhatus, if used with suitable anupanam. It may be used in medicines as well as in mercurial operation. Fifth process. Copper and haritalam rubbed with lime juice and subjected to putam will cause the incineration of the metal. The ashes, thus prepared, cure syphilis, boils, and other diseases due to an excess of kapha and pitam. Sixth process. 20 tolas of purified copper and half its quantity of mercury are to be rubbed together for 3 days with lime juice. Purified sulfur, equal in quantity to the copper leaves, is then to be rubbed for 2 hours with the copper and mercury. The whole thing is then to be put into a glass bottle and heated for 24 hours. When cooled of itself, the contents of the bottle are to be powdered. This powder is the king of copper ashes. It cures leprosy, sudika, and all sorts of diseases. It increases the dhatus. Seventh process. Copper leaves, smeared with the juice of Tiloparni plant, are reduced to ashes of white color, if burnt, by putam. Eighth process. Purified copper leaves, half its quantity of mercury and twice its weight of sulfur, are to be rubbed with the juice of dugdika, and then subjected to putam for 1 day, resulting in the incineration of copper. Ninth process. Copper leaves, as thin as can be pierced through by means of thorns, are incinerated if they are smeared with kajvali mercury and sulfur rubbed into a black powder, rubbed with lime juice, and then exposed to the sun. 10th process. Copper leaves, as thin as can be pierced through by means of thorns, are to be smeared with an equal quantity of sulfur, previously rubbed with some sour vegetables. They are then to be dried and subjected to putam, and then powdered. The powder is now to be mixed with 1/4 its quantity of sulfur and rubbed with the juice of lime fruit or of mrigadurba, and then to be subjected to putam. The last process is to be performed for 4 times, after which the powder is to be rubbed with the juice of mathalunga and subjected to putam. This is how copper is reduced to ashes. 11th process. Copper leaves are to be rubbed with double their quantity of mercury, rubbed with lime juice and sugar candy, and then subjected to putam. 3 such putams will bring about the incineration of the copper. 12th process. Copper leaves are to be smeared with double their quantity of sulfur, rubbed with the juices of pashanabadi and Matsyakshi, and then heated by Gajaputam. The copper is then to be rubbed again with 1/7 its weight of sulfur, rubbed with the juice mentioned above and subjected to putam. 7. Anch-putams will result in the incineration of the copper. 13th process. Copper leaves and double their quantity of mercury are to be rubbed with lime juice and kept inside a crucible covered with datura leaves, upon which are to be put powdered sulfur, equal in quantity to the copper. Upon the sulfur is again to be put copper leaves, rubbed as before, and datura leaves and sulfur to be put as before. The whole thing is now to be covered with datura leaves, and the crucible, duly closed, is to be subjected to heat by Gajaputam. When cooled of itself, the copper is to be powdered and will be found to be in a state of incineration, nectarization of incinerated copper. Copper, duly purified and incinerated, is to be rubbed with a sour vegetable juice and made into a ball which is to be confined inside a tuber of Sharanam. This tuber is to be plastered all over with mud and dried. It is next to be subjected to heat by Gajaputam. Thus prepared, the copper will be freed from all defects. It will no longer give rise to vomiting, giddiness, purgation, etc. use of incinerated copper. Incinerated copper should be taken for 6 months at a stretch with honey, juice of shalmai, and ghee in doses of 1 rakti a day. The diet, in this case, should be milk, sugar, and rice, or bread with ghee, without any sour thing at all. Such a treatment results in the increase of semen, nutrition, beauty, and eyesight of the person who takes the medicine. Incinerated copper rubbed with honey and ginger juice, taken in the morning, in doses of 2 raktis a day, cures all sorts of Udara Roga. Page 6. Glossary. Swallowing of mica by mercury for processes, see pages 76. 99. Vol. I. The mercury which swallows a metal does not increase in weight if the act of swallowing is perfect. Page 7. Calacuta poison, a highly poisonous tree having a black and round tuber, the very odor of which is reported to cause death. See Vol. 3rd Kanji. See Glossary. Vol. I. Page 8. Triphala. See Glossary. Vol. I. And Appendix. Page 9. Bhavana. See Glossary. Vol. I. Page 17. Panchamatram. See page 45. Page 28. Prastha. See page 311. Vol. I. Page 30. Kandaguda. Molasses subjected to heat, purified, and solidified. Page 36. Theory of Bayupitam and Kapha. Every one of us is aware of the universal law of gravitation, by which material bodies have a tendency to move towards the center of the earth, which it is not feasible for them to reach, as they cannot pierce into the hard surface, which presents a serious obstacle to their downward passage. All material substances are thus necessarily attracted towards the earth, being unable to rise up in the air from its surface. It is, however, seen that many of them are not immovably fixed to the earth, and can move about on its surface as men and animals do. Inanimate things which are light in weight can be moved hither and thither by the force of wind, while things that are heavy remain attached to the earth with comparative steadiness. Even these can possibly be moved from one place to another in many cases. Why is this so? If all material bodies behave an irresistible tendency to move towards the center of the earth, how can it be possible for them to move about or be driven from one place to another? The answer is that it is the existence of wind and air which makes such movement possible. Air is perpetually in motion and, permeating through every substance on the surface of the earth, imparts the power of movement to it. If there were no air, all things would have been immovably fixed to the surface of the earth without any power to move at all. There is hardly any place in this world which is devoid of air, which exists even in stone, iron, and other hard substances. All substances are composed of minute particles called atoms, which adhere together in such a way as to admit of some vacant space, however small, between them, which varies in different substances, and which is to be found even in iron, stone, human system, and in a mass of water as well. It is through these fine spaces that air enters into all things. In barred substances, this intervening space is very little, and the quantity of air that enters through it is hardly perceptible. What has been said above makes it abundantly clear that air enters into all substances in the world and makes them movable. The greater the quantity of air in a substance, the more capable it is of movement. Air enters into the human system and renders it fit for locomotion. Not only does it enter through the nostrils and the mouth, it also finds access into the human body through infinitely small openings between its molecules, which are finer than the pores of the skin and are countless in number. It penetrates deep into the blood, flesh, and bones, and it is this which causes the blood to circulate through the veins and arteries in all parts of the body. Blood may flow down from the brain to the extremities, or it may rush to the head from the feet in a contrary direction. The first phenomenon may be due to gravitation, but the second can never take place without the agency of air. We all speak of circulation of blood, but we do not perhaps know how this is caused. The primary and only cause of this circulation of blood is the constant presence of air, which enters into every part of our body and sets the entire organism It is present everywhere and pervades the bones, the flesh, the blood, and even the minutest parts of our body. If you apply heat to any part of your body, blood takes its course in that direction. And on the other hand, if you apply cold to any part, the blood tends to flow away from that part. Vayu or air is the cause of this movement. If heat is applied to any part of the body, the air in that part becomes lighter and expands by the action of heat, and some portion of the air shifts to other parts. The vacuum thus caused is filled by the flow of blood from other parts, i.e., blood rushes in from other parts to take the place of the displaced air. There is thus a ceaseless movement going on within the body. The other hand produces an opposite effect. Body becomes cold, the other parts of it warm. Hence, a portion of the blood from the former rushes to the warmer part. An application of cold on, when any part of them become comparatively. From this, it is clear that without air we could not live, nor could there be any circulation in the system. Vayu, or air, is therefore one of the main conditions of life. Nay, it constitutes a primary ingredient of animal organism. The various organic functions, such as breathing, discharge of excreta, circulation, exercise will power, and energy, are carried on through its instrumentality. Air, though forming one of the chief constituents of the human body, acts prejudicially on it when it finds its way into the system in an abnormal quantity. When it exceeds the quantity required to stimulate circulation, the flesh, bones, marrow, etc., dry up and become contracted under its pressure. The greater the quantity of air generated in the system, the more heavily will it press upon blood, bones, etc. Allopaths now, speak of blood pressure, which is probably nothing but the pressure of air upon blood. It cannot strictly be called blood pressure, for it does not press upon blood alone, but on flesh, bones, marrow, and other parts of the body as well. Pitam. The solar system is the fountain and source of all heat, and all things in this world derive heat from the sun. This warmth, which is present everywhere in a more or less degree, cannot be felt by the touch in all cases. If the heat of any substance exceeds the normal temperature of our body, we say that it is heated. If it be less, we say that it is cold. The constituents of animal organisms, that is blood, flesh, etc., possess a natural warmth which is termed pitam, without which life would have been unsupportable. Like air, it forms one of the vital constituents of our body, but an abnormal increase of animal heat vitiates our blood and brings on that state or condition of our body which is usually termed bilious complication or derangement due to excess of animal heat. This disorder gives rise to endless diseases. On the other hand, an unnatural decrease of bodily warmth is no less attended with danger, as excess or preponderance of pitam gives rise to diseases. Abnormal increase or decrease of the same may even bring about death. Health and long life may be ensured by maintaining the internal heat of the body in a normal condition. Kapha. It has been said that the function of air in the body is to produce dryness, or in other words, to absorb moisture from it, while that of pitam is to generate heat or warmth in it. The thing which constitute our body are rendered dry by air and warm by pitam, but dryness and warmth are not the only attributes of human organism, which is also characterized by the quality of coldness or tenderness, without which life would have been impossible. Besides dryness and heat, all the constituents of human body possess softness, which is present in the blood, bones, flesh, and other vital parts. The general name for this all-pervading softness is phlegm, which is present in different parts of the body in various forms, and performs diverse functions. If there is excess of the phlegm over what is necessary for the sustenance of lifa, various diseases may develop. On the other hand, if it unduly decreases, it may be attended with serious and baneful consequences. Total loss of phlegm, as well as an abnormal excess of the same, may even lead to death. The same remarks may be made with regard to vayu, or air, and pitam, or animal beat. Abnormal preponderance of these three vital elements is as dangerous and baneful as their abnormal decrease or loss. Effects of vayu, pitam, and phlegm. The following symptoms usually develop when wind is unduly in excess in our body: pain in the limbs, prostration, scanty evacuation of urine and stools, contraction of the arteries, nerves, etc., thirst, shivering, roughness of the skin, stringent taste, dryness of the mouth, and high-colored urine, etc. when the animal heat is unduly in excess. The following symptoms appear: burning sensation in the palm of the hands and feet, redness of the skin, generation of excessive heat in the system, promotion of digestion, sweating, etc. Page 44. Aranala, see glossary vol. I. Kankanam, thorax. Bhavana, see glossary vol. I. Kostijantaram, see pages 262 to 267. Vol. First page 46. Ghee, clarified butter. Patala Kosti, see page 264. Vol. I. Page 54. Kanta iron, an oxide of iron of which lodestone is a variety. See vol. 2. Tikshna iron steel, page 57. Indragopa, a kind of insect popularly known in India as mukmuli insect, page 57. Human oil, it is human fat that can be obtained in a most cruel manner. in the following. A human hermaphrodite is to be fed for some time on an exceptionally nutritious food, which serves to make the creature sufficiently fat. It is then to be flayed alive and hanged with its feet upwards and head downwards, kept suspended over an iron cauldron heated by a strong fire. When sufficiently heated, fat begins to come out of the body of the unfortunate creature and falls into the cauldron. This fat is very efficacious in instantaneously healing up wounds and cuts in animal bodies. This is the oil which, according to tradition, the physician Asvini Kumara applied in joining a goat's head with the body of King Daksha, who had been headed by his son-in-law, and thereby effected a resurrection of the dead man. The awfully cruel manner in which the oil can be obtained can rarely induce a modem Hindu chemist. Page 58. To have recourse to the abominable process, human oil is therefore a thing of the past in India. So Varchala salt, or Usharaka saltpetra, page 63. Tubari, alum clay, page 65. Udaroga, diseases in the belly. They are of 6 varieties, viz. Batadara, a disease which gives rise to wind in the belly, Jaladara, dropsy, Plihodara, enlargement of the spleen, Jakritodara, enlargement of the liver, Batadara, which causes chronic constipation, and Mahodara disease, which causes an abnormal derangement of all or almost all of the organs in the belly. Page 70. Takram buttermilk, page 74. Ukuta putam, see page 296. Vol, I, page 82. Kangshi, alum clay. Kasisa, green vitriol, page 83. Vikranta, corundum, page 93. See treatment of leprosy in Ashtangardaya, etc., page 107. Vargi, carbonate of soda, page 112. Dola jantrum, see page 250. Vol, I, carpara, calamine, page 122. Kashari saltpeter, page 129. Rakta gulma, tumor arising out of men's blood, page 141. Aratni, see glossary, vol, I, page 146. Raktapitam, hemorrhage from the stomach through mouth. Rectum, nostrils, penis, vagina, or from the pores in the skin, page 149. Vrana shukram, a deep-seated round-shaped white spot inside the black part of the eyes causing intense pain. Shita epitum, erysipelas. Udarda erysipelas, with fever, nausea, excessive phlegm, inflammation, etc. Visarpa erysipelas, page 162. Mala musha, see page 291. Vol, I, page 165. Kavachi jantram, the glass bottle referred to in Baluka. Yantram, see page 259. Vol, I, page 175. Karsha or tola is equal to 180 grains, not 126 grains, as stated wrongly in glossary of Vol, I. See page 310. Vol, I. Bagandara fistula, page 182, page 186. Labanam salt, page 190. Navasaram sal ammoniac, page 209. Rajavarta lapis lazuli, page 210. Udavarta, chronic constipation attended with various complica, page 215. Tions, Vita see page 81 and elsewhere. Vol, Itola, a measure of weight equal to 180 grains, page 225. Hingula cinnabar, page 226. Amla varge, see page 301. Vol, I, page 228. Dipta varga pipali, pipalimula, chabia, chitrika, chunti, maricha, gaja pipali, renuka, ela, vana, jamani, indrajava, patha, jira, sarshapa, mabanimba, fruit, hingu, bargi, madurasa, atibisha, basha, viranga, and katarohini. Page 235. Rasaka calamine, haritala, orpiment, manas shila, relgar, totham, sulfate, copper. Kisbaras, see page 299. Vol, I, amlas, C, sour group, in page 301. Vol, I, tankanam, borax, page 251. Sindura, red vermilion, page 252. Gajaputam, see page 295. Vol, I, page 253. Lagbuputam, an act of heating a putam, see footnote, page 294. Vol, I. By a light fire made of a few pieces of cow dung cake put on all sides of the putam. Page 254. Makshika pyrites. Samputam, or putam, see page 294. Vol, I. Non-metallic acid, see sour group, in page 30. Arvol, I. Page 271. Varaha putam, see page 296. Vol, I. Page 273. Mlacha foreign, page 283. Sutikip fever and other ailments following childbirth. Page 284. Ractis. 1 racti is equal in weight to 1 grain. C measures. Of weight in page 310, Vol I appendix. List of plants referred to with a footnote of glossary in Vol I, prepared by Upendra Nath Dutta.
Appendix. List of plants. Tamil or botanical? No. Sanskrit. Bengali. Hindi. Marathi. Telugu. Agastya bakahatya, Agastya bakul hadgya sesbana, grandiflora to Agastya bakahatya, Agastya sesbana.
Bakul baga grandiflora. 3. Aguru agura agarstis bacha haruguhu aquilaria. Chandan janti chetu agalosha. 4. Agnikarni 5. Agnimantha ganiari, Premna spinosa 6. Anjan 7. Ankotaka, Ancora, Thera alangium, Hexipa, Halum. 8. Ancola 9. Ajikarna pial asan bucanaria, latifolia. 10. Ajimoda rantuni, Ajmoda Bahman, Pimpinella, involucrata. 11. Ajasringi merstin convolvulus, Georgentus. 12. Ajaji Kalajira Geracuminum. 13. Atarusha Basak, Arusha Adatarai, Justicia Adatoda. 14. Atasi Masina Tisinali Lanum. 15. Anantamuna Ananta Upulstari Mul. 16. Aparajita Vishnukran. Gasishetu Usitatisi Mum. Hemidismus. Indicus. Visnu Clitoria Cranta Ternatea. 17. Apamarga apang lachira agaru utereni accurantis espora. 18. Ambasta nimuko pathetu sisampelas fernandifalia. Tamil or botanical? No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Telugu. 19. Amlabargas. 20. Amlabetita, Ibikol amaltas ruxum vesicarius. Castia fistula. 21. Araguada sondal sonhali, Torebabella habachetu. 22. Arca kandamata ruigilatu, Calotropis chetu gigante. 23. Arjuna. Arjun, Kabi, Arjun Mati Terminalia Saraha Chetu Arjuna. 24. Arthashan, Krishna Pithori Tior Sibdai, Drateri. 25. Alambusha Fulstola. 26. Asana Piyasala Sanasana, Convolvulus Turpidpum, Terminalia Tomentosa. 27. Aswagandha, Aswaskand Asandgandha, Withinia Sonifera. 28. Aswatha Asoth Pipar Pingpal Kulujubi, Ficus Chetu Religiosa. 29. Astibhanga Harjora, Orjori Vitis Drangularis. 30. Asisamhara. 31. Ahi nag, kabab, nag. Kisara chini kisarlu. 32. Ahifina afimafim afunabini. Mesuateria, papaver somniferum. 33. Akshika. 34. Akuli. Anch. 35. Akukarni indur musa bopli. Kani salvinia kukulata. 36. Akuparni. 37. Adbaki arbar rabar kajanas indicus. 38. Amla anbul phyllanthus embleca. 39. Ardraka ada adrak alu zingiber officinalis. B40. Banduka banduli gogulia banduja maku chet. 41. Bandujibaka. 42. Bandikankrola. Pentapedas Phoenicia. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi. Tamil or Telugu, botanical. 43. Bandia Karkoti. 44. Babura. Babla babul nala acacia. Tuma arabica. 45. Barbati dolichos. Kachong. 46. Barbura. 47. Bala bedela Vijbano Pachisida Cordi Togefolia. 48. Bakuchi Samaraji Babji Bochi Soralia. Corilafolia.
Nointenia Balukibangi. Kakur. Pinchan Bodi Pipul Pipar Pipuli Pipali Piper Longum. Inquantenan. Brahma Vamprahue. Dandidari Dandanium Micro. Fuente du Brahmaputra Chupri Yetibarai.
Cephalu Dioscoria. Alu Cand Globosa. 53. Brahmi Barabi Bimi Herpestis Monoferia. 54. Baka. 55. Bacula. Bakul Mimusop. Ilengi. 56. Bacha Bachbach Bikone Baja Acorus Calamus. 57. Bajacanas Tecarcand.
58. Bajri Narasiju Forbia. Anticorum. 59. Batabat Barbat Olficus Bengalensis. 60. Batsanaba Mitabis Mitabach Basnabia Conitum. Nak Ferox. 61. Banabrin.
Taka. 62. Banasharana Buno Ole wild variety of arum. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi. Tamil or botanical. Telugu. 63. Barbari Babui Osinum. Talsi Pilosum. 64. Banari Alkushi Gonsha Kuhiri. Pali Makunipurians. 65. Bayasi Diospiros Omentosa. 66. Barahikanda. 67. Bardakini. 68. Bartaku begun Banta Banjakuthire Solanum Kai Melangina. 69. Bastaka Bakas Arusha Ar Star Justicia Adatoda. 70. Basta 71. Bastu Betosek Trikpol Chinopo Diem album. 72. Bastuka. 73. Bijaya. 50. Cannabis. Sativum. 74. Bidanga Babi Barbati Baby and Belia. 75. Bidari. Rang. Huit bile kumrak hand, long ribes, 76 bidarakanda 77 bibitak, baheratina. Bumi mata epomoya kohol paltik digitata, behara Andy Bileric, Marobalan, 78 Birakarka, 79 Bilba Bilba Egelmar, Melos, 80 Bishala, 81 Bisamus, 82 Bisnukranta, 83 Bijapuraka, 84 Bijapura, 85 Bridi, Gora, Bizdori Nim, Taba Bijor Nebu, 86 Brintaka, 87 Brishikali, Melia Azadirakta, Citrus Medica, Bichuli Barbanta, Brishit, Kali Churitradia Involucrata, no, Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu, Botanical, 88 Brihadi Bribadi Bar, Dorli Cook, Solanum, Banta Bigni Machi Indicum, 89 Betasabet Berisu Jatme, Thalamus, Urkuli Rotong, 90% by Rapati Bonch Kantai Gul and Begu Flacordia, Gonta Chetu Ramon, 91 Baigri, Kanda, 92 Bernakni, 93 Banga, 94 Badarmusta Nagar, Cyprus, Muta Pertenuist, 95 Badarmusta Sino, 94 96 Baltica Bello Bilaba, Bisengot Semicarpus Tyanacardium, 97 Babia Chalta Dilania Indica, 98 Bargi Bamun Barangi Bangi Bant Claroden, Batimarangi Dron Stifo Nat, 99 Bukadamba Celsi Koro, Mandolin, 100% Bunimba Chirita, 101 Bumi Kush, Gentiana, Chirita, Manda 102 Bumia, Malaki, Bui, Badra, Buang, Amala, Angbarabeli, Lacortia, Catafracta, 103 Burja, Betula Borj, Patra, 104 Busiriza, 105 Bringaraja, Bimraj, Bangra, Bibalmaka, Verbistina Calendulacia, 106 Pandapatri, 107 Chakra, Mardada, Chakan, Chakartar Bata, Hudru, Kasia, Tora, Bizismo, no, Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu, Botanical, 108 Chanaka Chola Chana, Chanastisir Arieti, Num, 109 Chandali Punch, Unya, Yo Charturbali, Chapel, Chandana, 112 Chapala, 113 Chabia, 114 Shabika, 115 Shanjeri, 116 Shaturjata, 117 Chikana, Chaisi number 113, Amrul Chau Ambabadi, Patia, Cerium myrtifolium, Hypershata, Rumek, Vesicarus, Areca Catachu, Tupari, 118 Chinchika, 119 Chinchini, Central Imli, Tamarindas, Indicus, 120 Chitraka Chitra Plumbago Mulzelanica, 121 Chakra, 122 Chakrika Sino, 115 Sino, 115 D123 Darima Dalima Anar Darim Punika Chetu Granatum 124 Danti Hakum Croton Pali Chetu Andrum Bika 125 Darby Dargogia Gori Dashamula the root of Elephantopus Scaber 126 Bilba Bel Eagle Mare Melos 127 Shonyak Tonagash Arlutentu Pan Bignonia Indica 128 Gambari Gamarsibani Gambari Gamelina 129 Parul Arbora Bignonia Squaviolent, no, Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu, Botanical 130 Genikerika Ganiari Premna Seratifolia, 131 Shalparni Salpani Saraban Salaban, 132 Prishni Chakula Pithpan Sabara Kolaku, Parni 133 Kantakari Kanti, Hedisterum Gangeticum Dudialago, Ponapodioides Solanum, 135 Gokshura Gok, 136 Daru Haridra Daru Kari Ragini, 134 Brihadiga, Shura Sal, Bikini, Tribulus terrestris, Marman, Berberis, Haridra Haldigil Asiatica, 137 Dugdika Chote Dudi Asclepias, Hiri, 138 Durba, 39 pounds Debdaru, Debdar, 140 Debadali, 141 Drakjak Ismis Engur, Rosea Arugam, Panicum Polodactylon, Deotara Stonaya Debdali Danran, Andropagon, Draksha, Vitis vinifera, Pinus Theodara, Gari serratus, Pondu, 142, Dronapushpi Gold Kumba Enush, Lucas Lini, Gosha Tugmifolia, 143, Datura Debura Dutra, Datura Coromte Datura Fastuosa, 144, Dania, Kotmali Coriandrum Sativum, 145, Daba, 146, Datak, 147, Datri, 148, Danya, 149, Dustura, 150 Aranda, Dawa Damora, Narinja Konakarpus, Giful Dubti Deti Jargi, Sino, 39 Don, Sino, 143, E. veranda redhi, amid ricinus. Cheddar latifolia, Woodfordia floribunda, Oryza sativa. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu botanical. 151 Elachi, Iluchetu Elateria cardamomo. G. 152 Gajapipali, Gajpipothos, Ophi hallucinalis. 153 Ganikarika. 154 Ganda Durba, Gandari. Ganda knotted bent. Durba dubipak Durba. 155 Gandat Nai, Nakuli Rasna. 156 Gampari. 157 Gardabanda Gaya. No. 128 Sutha. 158 Gogulu Gogol. Grass Ophioxylon, Serpentinum, Hibiscus, Apolnius balsamodon, Dronmukul. 159 Gunja Kunch Trimiti Eraru Abrus Precatorius. 160 Guratwaka Dalchini Cinnamon, Zelenica. 161 Guduchi Goluncha Gurach Stulbeli Tipitoya Tinospora. 162 Gojiba Gojiagovi. 163 Gadapati Goelata, Portifolia Elephantopus, Gaber, Vitis pedata. 164 Gopalacum Goru, Karkati Drukibaba. 165 Goktur, Sol. 166 Grishma Gimsak, Sundara. 167 Antapatali Gonta Mosha. 168 Grita, Kumari. 169 Gosha, Parul Grita Kubari. Kumari Gosha Kartarai Kahir, Tribulus terrestris pharmaceum. Mullugs, a kind of trumpet flower aloes, Perfolita lufa amara. H. 170 Hansapati Sino. 163. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi. 171 Haridra. 172 Haritaki. Tamil or Telugu, botanical, Halud Hardi Haldi Pasab Circuma, longer. Hartuki Hara Hiraha Karak Chebulik. 173 Hastikarna Bupalash. Chetu Mirabellan Butea. Palasha. 174 Hastis Bundi Hadistura Nelbal. Superba Heliotropium. Indicum. 175 Hingu Hingu. 176 Hingupatri Bansapa Katrina. 177 Hilamo Hinchihurut Chika. 178 Hemchandra Sak. Ingor Farula Asa Otida. Balanitis Rock Burgi. And Bidrafluk Twans. 179 Ijala Hijal Ijar Parjaya Ingenia Aku Tangula. 180 Indrajaba Kurshi Indrajab. 181 Indra Baruni Rakel Indra. Polarna Antidysenterica. Indra Kukumiskolo Sasa. 182 Ikshu Aka. Barungande Baruni Sindis. Chiruku Sakaram Officinarum. 183 Ikshakutita Lautumbikuru. Cheti Laginaria Popla Anu Bulgaris. 184 Jatamansi Jata Jacona Valeriana Mansi Jataman. 185 Japa Jaba Full Hibiscus Rostinemstis. 186 Jambira. 187 Jayanti Gonranimbu Idibudansho Itzuberi. Nima Citrus Medica Chetu Sesbania. 188 Jayapala Joypala Aculiata Crotantiglium. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu botanical. 189 Jayasti Banga. 190 Jalapipali Kantra Nisgadam. 191 Jati Chameli. 192 Jwalamukhi Herber Halhul Surjaful Bali. 193 Jatibatri Joitri Jabatri. 194 Jaraka Jira. 195 Jibak. 196 Jibanti Jabai. 197 Jotismati Latafati Malkin Guri. Jasminum grandiflorum. Cleome viscosa. Myristica officinalis. Huminum. Simium pentaptera. Tomentosa. Celtis orientalis picucordiaspur. Dutoge murahalika cabum. 198 Jamani. Jawan. Ajwan uba aman picotis. Ajwan. 199 Jaba Joj Gadbu. Cordium amlu hexasticon. 200 Jabatikta kalmek jabechi. Glaceriza. Labra. 201 Justimadu Jasti Malati. 202 Jamachinsha. 203 Jakchalashana Madu. 204 Jathika Jujui Padanjui Jasminum auriculatum. Valeria Christata. 205 Jinti Janti Karsaraya. K. 206 Kankola. 207 Kangu. Asoka Astogi Kangoi. Dan 208 Kanganika. Saraku Indica. Kodralu Panicomitali. Panicomilali. No. Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil or Telugu, botanical. 209 Kanshuki Kire Asclepius roses. 210 Katafala Katfala Kaifal Kaya Mirika Sapida Fal. 211 Katutumbi Titala Tumbi Shetimer Laganaria. Vulgaris. 212 Katurobini Kaki Kaki. 213 Kathila Usha. 214 Kana. 215 Kantakari Kantikan. Pikrohis. Urua Mimordi Kacharantia. Solon Jack Queenie. 216 Kantarikas, the number. 215 217 Kitaka Nirmali Chilus Trichnos. Potatorum. 218 Kadamba Kadam Kolam Kadimi Noclea. Bu. 219 Kadali Palakela. Chetu Kadamba. Dontoji Musasapien. 220 Kanaka Nagaswar Kabab Chininangal Meswaferia. 221 Kanya. 222 Kapitha. C. No 168. Football Koith. Gambit Bilok. Baronia. Illa. Chetu Phantom. 223 Kapotika. 224 Karunji Karancha Karoda. Kanak Pongamia Chetu Glabra. 225 Karamarda Amla Karoda Du. Karanja. 226 Karabira Karabi Kanoili Kanoilu Ganaru Nirium. Odorum. 227 Karka Stringi Kakra 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 Karka Akuminata. 228 Karkati Stringi Stringi Kankur Kankri. 229 Karkaru Kumra Kohari. 2211 Naka. Kukumis Utidosh Latissimus. Benincasa Serifera. No. Sanskrit. Bengali. Hindi. Marathi. Tamil or botanical. Telugu. 230 Karkatika Karkrole Elanju. Hexapetalum. 231 Karni Karachota Lagu. Piru Kasia Fistula. Sondal Baba Goke. 232 Karpura. Kapurme. Cinnamomum